Is good stuff. All right, everybody. How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Sean Atwood channel. I'm Ron Swanson. We are here with Amiressalhi, and we're going to be delving into his story, his journey through Scientology. Ironically, we're both in the same town, and ironically, the Scientology department that he used to be part of was the Scientology department that I am actively banned from, and it's a whole smorgasbord of information tonight. So thank you for being here. Like and subscribe. And Amir, it's lovely to meet you. We've been chatting away. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself.
Ron, how you doing, mate? Nice to meet you. Yeah. Hi, everybody. You're like guessing. Hi, everybody. My name's Amiressalhi. I was a former Scientology executive for a couple of years. I left a couple months ago, just in January. I escaped in January, which I take great pride in, although they say that they kicked me out. That's not true at all. But yeah, Ron, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome, mate. You're very welcome. I need to ask you, first of all, are you a secret undercover double agent doing intel for Scientology?
No, and I had to go through that phase where people did think that at the very beginning.
I just wondered. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Well, look, let's take us right the way back, Amir. Right, take us back to like the week before Scientology even came into your life. Right, what was life like before then? Aspirations, what was going on, and then sort of tell us what led up to that initial contact with the Church of Scientology.
That's a good question. I don't think I've been asked that before, but yeah, I just finished high school. I went into film school. I was studying. I was also working at the same time. I mean, that was pretty much kind of my daily routine at that point. It was pretty simple, as simple as it possibly could be when you leave high school, I guess. Although some people did take a gap year. A lot of my friends did. But yeah, I guess I'd always been very curious, like anybody, about several things, right? You know, I don't know what everybody was like when they're 18, 19, 20 years old or whatever, but you tend to be quite curious and you go out and you try things and you explore and you get into this and you get into that and you mess up and you know, you learn from that mistake. And anyway, right, there's loads of things. But I just remember that I did not know anything about Scientology at all. I didn't know that there was a leader. I didn't know that there was a founder. I didn't know that who ran the thing. I didn't know about his teachings. I didn't know about his practices. I didn't even know about that famous cross. I didn't know about any of that stuff. I just knew that there's a thing called Scientology, and Tom Cruise likes it, and champions it, and he's a very big advocate of it, and might be interesting, might be worth going in, learning about, and just I guess just seeing what it's about, right? So I let my curiosity kind of get the better of me on that one, I guess. So yeah, that was it for me. I walked in. I was very in and out. So I was there for a total of 4 years, but 2 of those years, like the last 2 were hardcore, and the first 2 years I was pretty laid back. Like I was extremely in and out. Like I was saying, I'd go in, I would do a personality test, and then I'd piss off.
Oh, listen, we're gonna go through that, right? I just wanted to lay foundations before that, bro. Okay, so because you've seen the Tom Cruise stuff, you thought to yourself, well, I mean, you know, it can't be that. I mean, it must have been. It can't look that bad. Must have gone through your head, which tells me that you really didn't know much about what you were getting into, right? And I mean, I'll be honest with you, you're kind of at that perfect age, right? Especially with COVID, right? For all of this to have just gone over your head completely in the most perfect storm of ways, okay? Because they have tried really hard to adjust their persona and all the rest of it. I don't know how well globally that's worked out, but tell us about the initial meeting and how it began. Take us through your first sort of 6 months, if you will.
So my first 6 months, okay, so I remember I went in, well, in fact, even before that, I think I just typed up Scientology near me on my phone, and then I found there was literally one in the entire country, and that was in the capital of Scotland. That was in Edinburgh, and it's, you know, bang in the city, right next to the train station, right next to Edinburgh Waverley, and it's right on Southbridge. So I was like, okay, cool. So it's not, I don't have to travel to get, I don't have to go to Glasgow, for example, to get there. So I went in. It's surprisingly, I was shocked that there was even one there, because it's like it's been there since 1968. It's been there for several decades, but it's like the door is very slim, and so it's so easy to walk past. So it's just kind of amazing how I didn't realize it's been there for several decades. And many people have that reaction, by the way, where they're like, "There it is," right?
Yeah,
I think they've changed the color of it now, but
yeah.
that is pretty much it. So
That's basically it, yeah. For years, they just had a massive statue of L. Ron Hubbard's head in one of the windows. Uh, to be honest, this is the more flamboyant version of the entrance.
right.
But this is the building, right?
This is the building, and then on the right you've got Greg's.
Yeah, you do. It's so true. It's so. In fact, here's a better picture that includes the Gregs. Okay, we've got to give Gregs their dues. Okay, but yeah, this is the location, and you can see it is very unbecoming. Like, because there's a building, there's a business right next to it on either side, so it's hard for your brain to take in that is another place of interest, right? It
Yeah,
really
big
is.
time, big
Okay,
time.
well, carry on with your story, Amir. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, it's totally fine. Do you know what's funny? It's like right next to that building. So not on the right where Greg's is, but on the left where that building is right there. They've now
Yep.
bought that. And so that's currently being renovated, and they use just the top floor. I think recently they're using the bottom floor, but that's currently being renovated into their life improvement center, which is interesting. So it's kind of
The
expanding on
Life
stuff they did private.
Improvement Center, fantastic. Yes,
I know.
yeah. My experience is gunning it in this door and then running up the stairs. But anyway, carry on, carry on, carry on.
Yeah, so I went in for the first time. It was completely empty. It was dead, and there was one guy there who I remember called John, and I remember I did a personality test, and so I sat down and I went through 200 multiple choice questions, and it's like it's free. You don't have to pay anything for it, but it's very time consuming, of course. So I did that, handed in my papers, got marked on the computer, and then he sat down with me, and he just proceeded to go through you know, he basically sat down with me in a room and gave me a consultation of what he believed to be very good attributes that I have and attributes that I would maybe need improving. So he suggested this course and this book and that book. And I remember I didn't buy anything, and I went away and I didn't come back for about a month or
Let me
two.
let me ask you about what you said your flaws were. Like, how do they
Mm.
go around convincing you that you need this? Like, is it oh, you're awfully stressed, or oh, you're an angry person, or what's the shtick with their how did they get their claws in? Like, what was the wording they used?
It's a good question. I mean, the whole shtick is L. Ron Hubbard policy. So L. Ron Hubbard, He okay, the dude wrote a lot. The dude wrote a lot, to say the very least. The dude wrote so much. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about millions of words. We're talking about over 3,000 lectures. We're talking about he wrote so much. He's got a world record for writing that much. And I can't remember the name exact. I mean, John Atack would tell you, but there's a name for somebody that just cannot stop writing or speaking. I can't remember what it's called though. But
Okay.
L. Ron Hubbard has written what he believes to be good qualities in human beings and qualities that are aberrated. For example, your love interests might be the same sex. Okay, that would be considered aberrated in Scientology. That's wrong. That's blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
So they will basically get a graph based on how you answer those multiple choice questions, and it'll be up here and down here in the middle here and up here, and they'll be looking at that, right? And that will show how good you are at talking, your communication, how good you are with anxiety, or how comfortable you are, how relaxed you are. If you're surrounded by good people, toxic people, they're looking at all these different areas of your life based on. And by the way, there is a course for each of these areas. So if you lack in it for whatever reason they think you do, then they can suggest this course or that book, so they can give you an answer immediately. But he's just looking at a graph. John's very experienced. He's been there since the 1970s. He's been there for several decades. He also was the ED, the executive director. He ran the place, I think, in the early 2000s or in the 2010s, before the guy right now, Malcolm, does. So he's just sitting down with me and telling me that I could improve, in the way that I speak, and it could improve with anxiety, and could improve with several aspects of my life. And so he tried to sell me, I think it was Dianetics, which is the book that kicked all of this off. Like if you want to go to where Scientology came from, like the book that just started everything, it was Dianetics, which came out in
Dynamics.
1950. So right. So he tried to sell me that book, which is the holy grail of all of Scientology, and I said no, and I didn't want to buy anything. So I didn't, and I kind of went away for a little bit, and then, like I said, was saying before, I was very in and out. So I went away. I think a month later, I came back, and then I tried a stress test. Didn't buy anything with the stress test. Again, every single one of these things, there's Dianetics right there. Every one
Mhm.
of these things is designed to sell you something. And there's statistics for that as well. Like you're supposed to sell books and services and
Mhm.
courses. That's also how they pay their bills and how they pay
Sure.
staff and all
I
that
mean,
kind of
from
stuff.
a business model point of view, it's very much like a timeshare pitch, right? Come inside, have the freebie, right? Hear my pitch, and then you're either going to walk out either purchasing something or you're not, right? It's an understandable business model. It's the fact that it's this overwhelming religious organization that I think is where that business model becomes icky. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
Um,
agree.
and so, John, you've gone back and seen him a couple of times now. You've left empty-handed.
Mm.
As you've left, what are the things that are propagating in your mind? Okay, what was it that pulled you back to the second time and the third time? What was it that you felt this was going to assist you with after these tests that have been done? Because they're I mean, and again, I'm not criticizing. It's just I'm
No, it's okay.
interested to see
You can
the
say anything you want, Ron.
It's no, I'm slightly on the spectrum and I have ADHD. So the interviews are very unique with Ron. Everyone always turns around to me and says, "No one's ever asked me that." I'm like, "Well, that's uh, because it's fascinating. Because
It is.
we often talk about how people prey on the vulnerable, right? You don't strike me as someone that falls into a vulnerable category. Young person, sure. Vulnerable, not really. You probably would have left with £100 worth of books on day one if you were very susceptible to it all. So for me, it's how the average person is slowly groomed into this. Okay,
Mm.
so what was it that brought you back the second time?
It was just knowledge and curiosity that brought me in. There's a policy written by L. Ron Hubbard that's called Mystery Sandwich, which I think is a hilarious name
Mystery
to call it.
sandwich, did you just say?
There's a policy by L. Ron Hubbard called Mystery Sandwich. It's actually hilarious, right? But there's a truth to it, which is quite
Okay.
fascinating. So, Ron, are you a movie buff at all?
I'm a movie buff in my genres of favorite movies. Yes. Okay,
Okay,
but
okay.
that does cancel out 80% of what most people concern as regular cinema. I'm very much on the independent found footage and horror movie spectrum fan.
Dude, so do I. I love the Blair Witch Project, and I love
Yeah,
just
bro.
the backrooms. I love that kind of stuff as well.
Genre defining movie. I mean,
Right?
genre defining. But yeah, that's my kind of cinema.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just because I love throwing out pop culture references because I think
Okay,
people can actually get their head around it. And but I'd written about it on my Substack as well, just because I found the subject to be quite interesting.
sure.
But see, with any scam or with any con, it
Yeah.
depends on the timing in somebody's life, and
Hmm.
it depends on the angle that they come at it from as well to see if somebody's really going to fall for a scam or any type of con, right? But it was curiosity and knowledge. You know, there's a great film by Stanley Kubrick called Eyes Wide Shut, which is
Yeah.
one of my favorite Kubrick films.
Yeah.
And it's funny that Tom Cruise actually plays the lead
Yeah.
role in that film of all people, right? But you know, it's like I want to go to this party, and you got to get me into this party, and I really want to. I just want to experience something, and I want to see what this is all about, and you got to make it happen for me. And he goes late at night, and he buys a costume and catches a
Yeah.
taxi, and he's like, you know, I'll pay you to wait for me, and he goes into this kind of this ritual and stuff,
Yeah.
and you know, there it is right there. There's
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut, but going back to that policy, right? Erwin Hubbard says that if you want to sell something to somebody, you don't answer their questions. You don't. If you answer somebody's questions, then they're going to be like, okay, great, I know everything. Thank you very much. Capiche. Goodbye. Adios, amigo. But if you don't, and you ask another question or you kind of avoid it. When somebody has a level of curiosity, and like, I guess when people find things to be quite mysterious, we're so intrigued and fascinated by the unknown. And what's, like, if we take UFOs, or if we take, does a megalodon shark, is it still
Mhm.
alive? Is it in the Mariana Trench in the deepest parts? Like,
I'm with you.
we are so intrigued by the unknown because we really don't know much about Scientology. I mean, like, we know it's bad. We know it's bad, and we know that it's crazy and stuff. But the amount of conversations I have where I'm like, can you tell me anything about what they believe in, or can you tell me about some of the like, a lot of people can. So not that many people kind of know about it. So when it comes to the unknown and to mysterious things, it's very intriguing, and especially if you love life, and if you love
Mhm,
music, and if you love you have albums, you
mhm,
love poetry, you love people, you love getting into different kinds of conversations with people. There's so much that you can extract and learn from everybody and from so many
mhm.
different subjects. So having that interest in life and music and arts and all of this kind of stuff, and you really don't know that this thing is bad, and you know that this mega celebrity, this
Mhm.
American star, is just champions it to his death. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to learn here. I don't like what this
It
guy's
makes
offering
it
me.
makes sense. It makes sense when you start stacking it up like that, and but boils down to the classic, they leave you wanting more, but from
Yeah.
a questioning point of view. And your analogy of Kubrick, I mean, your analogy wasn't based off of, wanting to go to one of the Kubrick style parties. The
Mhm.
Scientology was the Kubrick style party. It was the veil of mystery, so to say. And
Yeah.
it makes sense. And do you think, looking back, the people and being part of something, you could have fulfilled that from a million other ways? Okay, like, being around people. Do you think it was more about the fact that you were straight out of high school and now you were in a new place where there was all these people that you could learn from and the knowledge, and it was perhaps more about being part of that and then realizing, oh my god, I'm part of Scientology later on?
That's a good question. I mean, do you know what's really interesting when I look back at it, Ron? Is I wouldn't for anything, I wouldn't change that experience. I would
Mhm,
not go back into a time machine and wish that that never happened. Like, I'm actually very grateful that I've had that experience, because
mhm,
in that experience, I've managed to educate people on it. I've managed to talk about the subject of, bear in mind, right? If you okay, fine, you've went through the whole experience of being a
mhm.
Scientology executive and being in that whole entire world and what that contains, but your education on abusive relationships, your education on healthy groups to be around, your education on how to help and assist people and give them advice when they're in
Okay.
sticky situations. It
Tell,
really,
tell
like,
us tell us a little bit about that. Let's tell us about now. Again, this is not a sales pitch for anyone that's watching, but tell us about
no,
the
it's not.
positive reinforcements that you've been left with, and then we'll go back to where we left off in your story, because it's interesting. You went back the first time, refused to take a book. Went back
Mhm.
the second time, refused to take a book. Spent 4 years in it, realized there was something going on here, decided to leave, and I think you're I think once you decide something, that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
If I'm being honest with you, and
it's good to know
it's
that.
interesting, well, because a lot of people in your case, Amir, would still be they'd be 20 years into this before they believed in themselves enough that they could make a decision for themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's a common
Yeah,
road for so many people, and I think that's where you differ from a traditional vulnerable person. You know what I'm saying? I think all the decisions you made for yourself, and it's
yeah.
an interesting story because whereas the vulnerable individual, it's going to be a very different story. You've come out with some positive reinforcement. So again, not a sales pitch, but can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, it's just it's fascinating. Hopefully, I think, okay, no matter who's watching this video right now, we've all kind of made errors in our life, and we've slipped up, and we've done things that we regret. We've probably done things that we've never mentioned to anybody or that we don't really want to speak about. Hopefully, though, when it comes to those experiences, no matter okay, you got into this group, or you tried this thing, or you messed up here, or you slipped up there. It comes, hopefully anyway, it comes with you learning something out of it, and you can go and you can pass on that wisdom and knowledge to somebody else. Or you know, I personally, I like writing about it. Obviously, I love talking to people about it as well, and I love helping people, you know, with what I've learned personally. But I love writing about it on my Substack. Just whenever an idea comes to mind, or a subject comes to mind, because I think it's I think it's phenomenal to tell your story.
Mhm,
Whether you were in the Mormon church, whether you were a
mhm.
Jehovah's Witness, whether you were Scientologist, whether you were in the Church of Satan, whether you were involved in an
Yeah.
extremist belief system, whether you were involved in a right wing political group, whatever it was, when you come out of it, there's so much to talk about, dude. There's so much to talk. I mean, seriously, when it comes to healthy groups and how intense a group is, and
Mhm.
how you felt in that group, and abusive relationships, and different methods that are used in these relationships to keep you still stuck there, and the leverage that they hold over you, and what
Interesting.
happens when you try to leave? Like, are they okay with it? Do they support that? Do they not support that? Do they come after you? Because truth is, if you are the truth, if you are a healthy, sane group and an environment,
Yeah.
if I try to leave and I say, well, this person did this to me, then you should condemn that, and you should be on my side and say, well, that's absolutely unacceptable. And I'm really sorry that you shouldn't just come and bring Thor's hammer and just nail somebody and ruin their life and rob their house. Like, you
See,
know
it's
what I
interesting
mean?
the way that you were talking there about getting away from groups and handling it all. It sounded like you were talking about getting away from Scientology. Like it sounded like most of the stories we hear, right? They were a toxic group. I needed to get away from them. But you're saying that you've learned ways of bettering yourself through their teachings. And that's it. Do you know what? You strike me as somebody who's going to come out the back end of like a train derailing, right? And have a positive experience. Amir, like you don't strike me as somebody who's going to take a terrible moment in his life and focus just on the negative. And if you're not going to try and carve out something positive from it, I think it's a healthy mindset to try and carve something out of a negative experience. It helps you look back and go, well, that wasn't all for nothing, inverted commas. It gives you that there was a reason behind it, if you will. Do you think maybe that's where your mind is with it?
Dude, it's both. It's
Okay.
honestly, dude, it's both. I mean, seriously, when you there's certain experiences that you go through in your life, and I will try and take the positives from it, but I swear to God, I'm a human like any. There's nothing special about me, I promise. Like, I'm like every single one of you. I
Is that
cry,
is
I
that
laugh.
self-criticism, Amir?
Oh,
Is that
I'm
self-criticism? Is it
I'm
a hundred
incredibly.
percent in your own actions that you see those flaws and not in group actions? Do you see what I'm saying? Because that's another side to
Yeah,
humanity. Like I'm very good at giving advice. If I took the
yeah,
advice I gave, my life would be great. Do you see what I'm saying?
right,
It's
right.
one of those situations.
Yeah, I mean, I try. I don't know if I'm always successful at it, but I mean, I
Mm.
do always try and hold myself accountable if I slipped
Yeah.
up or if I did
Oh yeah,
something wrong.
sure.
But you still have to look at it from kind of a logical perspective, and these guys, they did mess up in this situation big time, and they have by the way, they have a massive track record of it. I mean, if we look at the majority of reasons, and I'm not just I'm strictly going to speak about Scientology in this
Of course.
example, but if we look at the reasons that the commanding officer of their intelligence, Mike Rinder, left, if we look at reasons why a lot of these executives left, I mean, the guy that currently leads Scientology today, David, his dad left.
Yeah.
I mean, not only his dad, his brother left, his niece left. I mean, the dude's family is like he's got no family basically left
Yeah.
in it, right? L. Ron Hubbard, the founder, was the same. I mean, look what happened to his marriages. I mean, one of his wives got locked up from, I think it was the biggest infiltration of the U.S. government in history, and then look what happened with his second wife. I mean, it's. I forgot where I'm going with this now, but it
It's
is
all right.
really
Don't worry.
fascinating.
Don't worry. No, it's all good. I understand the point that you were making, right? Because I mean,
Right.
let me put it in a nutshell for everyone at home. If you don't know the history of L. Ron Hubbard, the man wrote dozens, if not hundreds, of sci-fi books, went on national television and said the greatest way to make $1 million is to start your own religion, and bases his religion around some wackiness. Okay, now the thing is, the wackiness isn't in the sales pitch. Amir never got hit with right volcanoes, okay, aliens, umbrellas. There's none of that in the sales pitch. It's all about self-improvement and how you've made the right choice by being here, and we can save you from yourself, I might add. Right? I mean, that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, I mean, you basically said it better than me. I mean, see, with any scam or with any con, it really just depends what angle you're going to come at it from.
Well,
I mean, today Scientology come at it from we are here to change conditions and to give you the tools that you can apply. There's no joining Scientology. You can't join Scientology. It's more you apply Scientology, because if we look at what the word Scientology even means, it's just the Greek and Latin word "skio" and logos, which is the study of knowledge. Scientology is knowing how to know. So we're just going to give you the tools that you can go and apply. For example, you don't need to be religious. I mean, these are PR answers that I'm giving you.
Yeah.
If we actually look under the surface, that's not the case at all.
I agree. It's more like one of those magazines where every week you get a tiny piece of a model, right? And as long as you keep paying, eventually you're going to build the model, right? But you're like $500,000 in, and unless you're Tom Cruise, you probably ain't going to find out about the volcanoes. And I've got a funny feeling, right? It's all written on the back of a like diner napkin by L. Ron Hubbard in pencil, and it's kept in a shoebox, right? And then you walk into the office, and Miss Scavenge just whips the shoebox open, gives you 10 seconds to read the fucking napkin, puts the lid back down, and that's you done. Like it seems to make a lot more sense as to how they get their claws in the early days, right? Because you can kind of go, well, maybe I'm a bit sad. Maybe there is things I need to learn about myself.
Maybe people were up. I don't know. I mean, it was the 1970s, and you had Star Wars come out, and you had Star Trek. Maybe people were up for it back then. I don't know.
We are not blaming Star Wars for this, okay? But look, let's go back. Right, you're 6 months in. Like, let's take us on the next part of the journey. Take us through the initial, anything that you missed from the initial 6 months, and then let's take us up to your first sort of major year and the first major event that took place with you.
So the first major year was actually 2024, but yeah, I mean, I was pretty much in and out for the first 2 years. Where then I remember I came in later on, and then I was like, can I just wander around, and if there's a book that interests me about life or something, then I'll buy that. I don't want anyone to tell me which book to sell me, because I don't want anyone telling me which book I'm going to buy. I'm going to go to a library, or I'm going to go and browse around, and I'm going to decide which book interests me the most, I guess, or which one is, might satisfy my curiosity at the time.
They will have hated that. They will have hated that, bro. Like they would just want you to shut up and buy the book. All right. Okay, that's what they want. Okay, yeah. So carry on. So you're in the library, you're doing this whole personal journey. Carry on.
Yeah. So I was wandering around, and then I bought there was a book on communication, and there was a book on there's a book called The Cause of Suppression, which was supposedly about toxic people and identifying that and managing that, or helping somebody else perhaps manage that in their life. There was another one called New Slant on Life, and I remember I got Dianetics as well. So again, I was very in and out, and I read through some of the booklets where there's the massive LA Blue building right there, right?
Oh yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, that's the most iconic one.
Nothing at all sketchy about a massive, because you know what? Listen, I'm sorry if the side chat's going to start getting angry with me for side questing this, right?
It's okay.
I think I honestly feel like, see, if they'd done away with all of these little symbols, right?
Oh yeah.
I think people might have taken it a bit more seriously, right? Because you can't just have a modern religion and then make up a bunch of fancy symbols and throw them on buildings. You got to let a couple of 100 years to go by. You got to let some wise men do some stuff, and then you can start throwing symbols on things. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's funny how it's a triangle, though, right? If you want to look really, really deeply into symbol, it's pretty
let
funny how there's two triangles.
yeah. I mean, listen, you are talking to a guy with a vulna on the back of his hand, which is three intertwined triangles. And I remember a little kid came up to me in a cafe one day and asked me if I was part of the Illuminati, and I said I'm actually part of.
Seriously.
I actually said I'm part of the super Illuminati because I've got three triangles, and that you should stay in its school and get good grades. And then I just left. So, but yeah, I mean, triangles are.
Have you ever walked past the Mason building near Princess Street?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm queued up on all the societies in Edinburgh, bro. There's a bunch of them.
There's more than one, by the way, because I know I've got friends that go to Edinburgh University, and they're like, there's a #1 building as well.
There's Edinburgh has some of the most historical lodges, right?
Yeah.
Lodge #1 fragmented and split into two lodges, and they're both in Edinburgh. And because of that fragmentation, there's specific types of apron that can only be worn by these two lodges. Wow. It's really fascinating. And I'm a big believer in the business model of Freemasonry is what makes it susceptible to evil because of what it takes to build a lodge. So if I'm an evil man and you're an evil man, and I've previously been a Grand Master at a lodge, I can recruit 12 evil friends and then go and start an evil lodge. And then we just let evil people in that lodge. That's how simple it is. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's how corruptible it is. And when you then go and found an entire new nation that you think is India, and you're like, oh, there's Indians. And then you realize it's America. And then America's founded by Freemasons. The first ever center stone for any building was a Freemason block. That's when everything gets a bit icky.
Was Robert Burns not known as to be a Freemason?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I remember I read something on that.
All of the sort of aristocratic Scottish people from that era were part of it. It's the history of Freemasonry that it blows my mind. But anyway, that's another podcast. That's another podcast. But so you're in and out for the first couple of years. I mean, when you say in and out, you're literally. There's no, oh, I'll see you on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. You're just free balling in and out and slowly, making your decision. And I'll tell you what, 2 years, I mean, you're taking your time. You're making an informed decision. You really are. So you've gone through what we'll refer to as the humming and hawing period of your Scientology career, right? You've decided on these books. What was your impressions after you read these books? You've got them home now and you're like, give me the knowledge. What was your reaction after that?
I think it was just, I guess, for not knowing about the origins of where this stuff came from. Bear in mind, L. Ron Hubbard didn't invent anything. L. Ron Hubbard didn't. I mean, if we look at communication, for example, and we look at the drills that you have to do to improve your communication, that all came from being able to look at somebody for 2 hours and not flinch and not be scared and not fidget, just be comfortable in the chair and look at somebody for 2 hours. You start to see things, and you look at where that stuff comes from. I mean, there used to be a game, and it's funny because we were just speaking about Freemasonry, right? But it's funny, the more that you delve into this stuff, you find a lot of connections and commonalities with this stuff. But with the communication book, which I had, by the way, I did not know this at the time. I later read about this and spoke to people that knew about this a lot better than myself. But being able to look at somebody straight for 2 hours and you hallucinating and that kind of stuff, right? It's the same thing, I think, when you go into a mirror, because there was a game that we used to play as kids. I remember in primary school, there was Bloody Mary, and you would go into the bathroom light is off, and you would look at yourself in the mirror and you would say this, and you might kind of see something. And I know that that's also practiced in magic and black magic as well, where you can look at yourself in the mirror for so long that you start to see things. So it was amazing just kind of reading about this stuff. And I guess it fascinated me. And I didn't understand all of it, to be completely honest, because well, first of all, if we look at Dianetics, that book was written in 1950.
So
not many people.
I'm sorry, this is ADHD again.
It's okay. It's okay.
So there was an element then, and please, this is just for lack of a better term. There was like an occultish twist, right? A supernatural twist of basically what I would know as like mirror gazing, right? Where you're gazing into a mirror or a candle or something. and your brain is kind of taking you on a cosmic journey, metaphorically speaking, right?
Yeah.
That is very fascinating because
It is fascinating.
I've said for the longest time, right, that everything that's going on in our world with the elites, right? What do you give the man for Christmas that has everything, right? The
Mhm.
unobtainable, Amir, right? And the occult and mysticism is the ultimate form of that. Trust me.
Mm.
And we'll delve into a little bit more of that later. But so you started realizing that possibly you were learning something that was maybe a forgotten art, or that was really what was drawing you in, was this mystical knowledge, right?
Yeah, so of course, by the way, Rod,
Yeah.
there is a ridiculous amount of the occult that you will
Okay.
find in the roots of Scientology. Like
Interesting.
seriously, when you trace stuff back to like where does this come from? Okay,
Oh
he's
no.
saying,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, the tracing it back. Where does it come from? For sure. But
oh my
how did
God,
they? Because I don't think you were sitting in your room going, "I'm a wizard, Harry." I don't feel like you were doing that. I
no,
feel like you
no,
were taking it from a very academic point of view,
yeah,
and that's what fascinates me because it's potions and mysticism repackaged, given a sci-fi twist, and then given an academic twist. You see what I'm saying? But then when
right,
you filter it back to where it came from, you're like, whoa, this is a bunch of Crowley stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I mean, might not
yeah.
might not be Crowley stuff, but I mean, I'm paraphrasing. So
Oh, it is, dude, it is,
interesting. That's
bro.
really interesting.
The founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard himself, shared a house with a Aleister Crowley disciple, with John Parsons, with Jack Parsons, Mr. Rocketman himself.
Yeah,
And Jack Parsons would write letters to Aleister Crowley saying, "I'm staying with this guy. His name is L. Ron Hubbard. I thought
interesting.
I had an imagination, but this guy takes it to a different level. We're currently trying to we're going to do a ritual where we're going to try, and I can't even remember what the ritual was called, but they're trying to get the Antichrist born or something."
No
I
big
mean,
deal. Yeah, it's just raising Satan, mate. No problem. Just inducting the apocalypse. No big deal.
dude, it's some
But
sick
that's
stuff.
fascinating, right? Because
Yeah.
again, it's just because of the person I'm having the conversation with.
Mm,
This is what fascinates me. So
yeah.
you're sitting there, you're starting to think to yourself, "Wow, I'm unlocking some way of gaining knowledge or whatever." You've been convinced. You've read the books. You've done the practical. Sitting in front of the mirror metaphorically, and you've seen this knowledge come to fruition, right? You've seen or had an experience throughout this journey of mirror gazing or the things that you've done, right? Can you
Mhm.
tell us about any of those experiences? What like, I mean, again, I imagine, trust me, I know
Yeah.
what it's like to re-explain something that was completely life reassuring for you in a mirror, that when you replay it, people are like, what is the big deal, bro? Right? I get it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what was that like for you to have your first sort of mythical moment, metaphorically speaking?
It wasn't like the most amazing thing in the entire world. It's like there's definitely things in life I take much more pleasure from than that. I mean, it's
Yep.
it's just knowledge. It's just consuming knowledge. It's like
Yep.
if
From an
you guys,
academic point of view, you've taken it from an academic point of view. Okay, you want to
yeah,
see the work. You want to see not just the sum. You want to see the working. And
yeah,
again, some of you might not know what the hell we're talking about, but I'm just getting a better understanding for Amir's brain here. So that's really cool. That's really cool. I think you're the first person that I've ever come across who's academically and taking an academic brain into anything within my world, which is the occult world, right? It's fascinating, man. It's
dude.
fascinating.
When I was a teenager, I saw an exorcism when I was on holiday visiting some family. So I'm that terrified of the occult. I choose
Yeah,
not, like, magic and voodoo and
yeah.
juju and all of that kind of
It's
stuff.
real.
I have enough knowledge to be able to talk about it because
Yeah,
I've observed it and I've read, and it's also, if we look at the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, it's also included in there, and ancient
yeah.
Babylon and stuff. Yeah,
Of
it's
course.
very it's well ingrained in religion and philosophy and stuff. But it is a very scary subject that
Yeah. I hear you,
I
bro.
get nightmares at night. I don't want
Yeah,
to be
listen,
seeing
I
stuff.
hear you, man. I hear you. I mean, I assisted in one exorcism this year and soloed one exorcism this year.
Dude,
So
that's intense.
I'm deep in the occult. Like I am, and it's not from a nasty point of view or an evil point of view. Um, I was raised to talk to the paranormal. I was raised to believe in magic. I was raised around all of this, and it's completely normal to me. Like there's no excitement. I mean, when I done my first solo demon hunt, it was mundane. That's how it
You
felt.
did a demon. Wait, did you do it in
Yep,
Scotland?
yep. I did it from my house,
Seriously?
remote viewed, and cleared a friend of mine's little boy for 9 months was being tormented by shadow people, and I went in and dealt with it. But
Whoa.
that's a story for a beer, Amir. Okay, that's a story for you and me in a pub talking about this in person. So that see, it's interesting because you strike me as straight up academic. I'm a 4 decade long magic using pagan witch, right? I mean that's who I am, and I would be very interested to hear more. Let's continue with the story. So you've got your books,
Yeah.
you've read your books, you're starting to study the knowledge, seeing results, and looking at it from an academic mind, which is going, okay, well, if I'm getting a 10% result from doing this mirror gazing or whatever, I'm getting a little bit of a result. I'm going to keep working on that from an academic mind. I can see how you'd get addicted to that, Amir.
I was so addicted to the knowledge. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
to put it, I'm gonna try and put it into perspective so everyone watching can maybe try and
Yeah.
get it. If you're a journalist or if you find people in the world that we live in, I mean, how can you not bloody find people in the world that we live in to
No,
be interesting?
bro.
But there are certain subjects that you will come across in your life, and or it could be a band, it could be a person, it could be whatever, but you find it to be so fascinating that you develop a level of obsession and you just want to know everything about it. You want to
Yeah.
know, I want to know all about it. I want to know where it came from. I want to know just everything about it. So you go and you listen to every podcast and you read every
Yeah.
book and you want to consume everything on it.
Yep.
That was basically it for me. So I'm like, okay, I can see what Tom Cruise is doing, right? And this guy can
Honestly,
hang off a plane.
yeah, you're
Going,
so focused on the knowledge, right? You're four
yeah,
years in before you go, wait a minute. You looked up from your book and you go, wait, there's something else going on here. There's something not quite right here. There's something more to this than just the knowledge. And I'll be honest with you,
yeah.
I love that about your story, right?
Thanks,
I
man.
love that the whole 90% of this is just intrigue. Okay,
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
probably not even heard half of the grooming techniques for these guys have used. It's just sounded like wah, 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 going into your
nothing.
brain. That is so fascinating. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
touch more on how repackaged the occult was throughout this part of your journey, because I imagine there's some exercises that they've given you that will give 90% of the world an interesting experience to keep you going on in your journey. So where did it go from there? All right,
Mm.
you've done, like I say, you're over 2 years in now. You've started seeing results from the knowledge in these books. What was next for you?
Okay, so I basically disappeared for a little bit because you have your life and you have your daily routine and you've got all this kind of stuff that you're doing, right? So I decided to come back in 2024. I can't remember which month. I think it was early 2024. Might have, in fact, it was in March actually, and there was an event, and Scientology play. They have several events throughout the year, several major events throughout the year. One of them is L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. So L. Ron Hubbard was born on March 13th, and I think they hold his event on March 14th, March
Okay.
15th, or Friday, Saturday of that week. And they were like, "You should come. You should come. There's an event, and there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be food. It's going to be really cool. You can see the scale of all of this stuff. There's going to be thousands of people watching it as well. You should come and watch it." So I was like, "Okay, fine, fine. I'll come and watch this birthday event." So I came in. I watched the birthday event, and there was, it was played in the course room where everyone studies. So they fixed it all up and stuff, and they had all the seats. And then, there was again, like, for somebody that knows nothing about all of this stuff, you're
Mhm.
seeing a stage and it's like the Emmy Awards, and you've got the guy who currently runs it, David Miscavige, walks on
Mhm.
stage, very fancy suit. Also, not
Okay,
many
wow.
people notice this, but he's got a very expensive watch on. But I mean, if you're in person, you can actually see his watch. But on the
That's where he
broadcast,
keeps the
you can't.
trap. That's where he keeps the trapped souls of his enemies inside that watch.
Yeah,
I'm
there's a
so
lot of people
content.
in there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's a bunch of them, man. Yeah, exactly. But that's even more fascinating, right? Because you've gone from this knowledge journey, plus you've been dipping in and out. And now,
Yeah.
when you've made a decision to actually look forward at this entire organization, it couldn't be more glitz and glam. Like you looked
Yeah.
up at the
Very
right time.
surprising.
Yeah, 100%. So now that
Yeah.
you've looked up and you've seen all this and you've gone, knowledge, mysticism, shiny stuff. Ooh, I think most people, I can understand your journey now. So you're at this event. Like when you left that event, did you feel different than any other time than you'd left the Scientology building or meeting? Was that like a defining moment?
It was just interesting. It was just interesting. I mean, it's like a mega church thing you've got a hall or a stadium or something, and it's packed out. It's got thousands of people there, and you got a guy that gets up on stage, and there's a big emphasis on donations and stuff. It's like a mega church thing. It's like, okay, well, this is interesting. I'm not like oh my god, I'm a believer. I'm just like,
Hmm.
okay, well, this is interesting stuff, and this just makes it even more interesting that the guy gets up on stage, the leader, and he's dressed in this tuxedo and everything. And I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever, right? So anyway, after that, there was a very, very good looking girl that came
Oh
up,
yeah,
and
here
she,
we go. And so they've tried the knowledge that didn't get you. So they're like, right, send in the hotties. Okay, have we got an Amir, a hottie?
by the
Get the
way,
hottie in.
by
Nah,
the
this
way,
what that is. That do you know what that is? A scummy move because
it
you've
is,
got
but
motives,
dude,
Amir. I can tell you now. You academically, you can destroy everyone. Send in the hotties. That they've. Well, touche. Touche, Miss Cavendish.
oh
Touche.
man.
Okay, so the hotties come in, right? And now I imagine you're like, now there's two reasons to be here.
No, do you know what, dude? It's okay. So if we look at Steve Hassan, if we look at, there is so many examples to look from of people that are like call experts, like they have PhDs or like very,
Um,
very, very knowledgeable people that have left that life, but they went through a breakup or something, or they just saw, a very, very good looking girl come up to them and give them all of this attention. I mean, I guess it also kind of works for the opposite sex as well, because if we look at Gunnar Scharf, who's doing the TikTok for Scientology in Minneapolis and Minnesota, people are like, "Oh my god, that guy's very good looking and stuff," and you know what I mean. I guess like it can kind of go both ways, but yeah, yeah. So there was what it does is it just lowers your guard. You're not going to be like like an asshole or whatever. Like it just lowers your guard, and you're going to be very nice, and you can have a very nice conversation, and you can open up a little bit more. But I just remember I would sit down with her, and then I would sit down with another person as well, and they would say, we really want to get you on this course. Like honestly, just trust me, dude. This is going to help you a lot, and you're big on studying and knowledge, and you're very, very bright as well. You should try this. And so she introduced me to the life improvement courses. So I
Ironically, everything that all of the men had been saying to you for over 2 years, okay? But now suddenly the hotties have been sent in. We're signing stuff. We're buying books. Okay. Well, listen.
It's true, it worked.
Bro, that's what they would have got me the same way, bro. That's how they would have got me. Okay, they would have sent in the hotties. Okay, all right, okay. Seating me up. Do you know what I'm saying? So listen, and I'm
Uh,
a lot older than you and should have built up a resilience to the hotties, but they'll get every one of us that way, bro.
oh
So
my god.
that's what sort of drew you in. That was the next stage, right? Because again, we just went through. You were already getting what you wanted. You were getting the knowledge.
Yeah.
You weren't tied to anything. You were coming and going as you were pleasing. If anything, you were doing Scientology the healthy way. Okay, let's be honest. You're going to do it a couple of times a week, whatever. Don't commit to anything. Steal the knowledge and get out of there. Right? It was a good smash and grab until they got you. So
Well, I mean, I
Taking
was just buying the book and then reading it in my house or something whenever I had spare time, but now I'm, like, properly enrolled into a course, which I have to come into the course room, come into the building to
okay, so
do.
this is the first. So that's they got you to sign up to the course. The hotties got you to sign up to the course, right? And I see those there. That is so sneaky, man. So sneaky.
It is. And by the way, they know this because I've had a laugh with them about it after. So
Obviously,
they know it. They
obviously.
know it.
Like, bro, honestly, bro, have you seen some of the Mormon church adverts that have got like the
Yeah.
19-year-old
Yeah, yeah.
girls, 21-year-old girls in that? And it's like, we all know what you're doing. Okay. We all know what we're doing. Okay. So that's wild. Okay. So you're on this course now. You're
Oh,
committed.
man.
Like, what was it like when that started? Like, from the comparison from your sort of self-propelled studying into a regime of organized courses. Tell us how that was.
That basically that opened up everything. That
Okay.
point opened up because I'll tell you why that opened up everything. So I've went and I've enrolled on this life improvement course called I think it was either personal values and integrity or it was overcoming ups and downs in life. Overcoming ups and downs in life tackles toxic people and who can you actually trust and identifying healthy groups and unhealthy groups
Yeah,
and
everything you would need to detach from your family and understand why you're being asked to do so.
well, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's all contained in the ethics book, actually, which I didn't know about at the time, of course. But
Mhm.
so I went and I did that. It's about 34 quid or whatever.
Okay.
And so I went and I bought that and I finished it in a day, which
Okay.
is pretty unusual. I mean, some people drag on with this stuff or it takes a week or whatever, but I would do it in a day. And then I got the next one. And then I got the next one. And then I was doing 3 a week. And nobody does 3 a week. Nobody does 3 courses a week. Like, it's just like, I remember John, who did my person like, came up to
Yeah.
me and he was like, that's just like, that's like a record. Like, nobody does that. Like, you have to come and work for us. You're very bright. You gotta, like, wow. Like,
Mhm.
and then whenever
Yeah.
I'd go into the kitchen and I would have lunch. I'd go out and grab a coffee, or I would come in and I would sign in at reception or something, and they would be like, "You have to come work for us. You were so bright. You have to come work for us," because I was just getting stuff done 3 a week, and it's also one, it's making the money. Two, it's very very good signs for them. Three, it makes the supervisors happy because it shows that the delivery of the service is good. And also, it's statistically, it's great. Because they keep stats, which they send up to management, which they get points for, which is a whole
Oh
other
hell yeah.
thing,
Oh yeah. If
right?
everyone wants an Amir on their team, 100%. Like you're a stat building member of staff. Do you know what I'm saying? When stats go up for 3 members of staff just because Amir's doing stuff, those are the people you want in your team. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
and did you feel that those people who were saying that to you, did they mean it, or were they part of the got to get them into the next stage, got to get them into the next stage, got to get them into and I don't mean that they're ruthless. I mean, are they told something? Oh, Amir needs to be on this next stage by this time to hit a target. Are you just a unit in target hitting? Because I feel
Yeah,
like that is how they weaponize inhumanity against the members, because
yeah.
they're not worried about what you're going to go through on this next thing. You're a unit and a dot in their data.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because I was like, I would just get stuff done, but they
Yep.
never once sold me a service. I sold myself every service. And it's funny because whenever they would say, "Bro, you got to get on this," or "You got to get on the bridge," okay, but the bridge is like major courses, like major, like we're talking very expensive major courses where we really get into the spiritual aspect of
Okay.
Scientology. But they're like, "You got to get on the bridge. You got to do this." Oh my god, that
Gee.
never worked for me. And
So it's
even when I
all
was
So
well, even
it's all self-help up until this point. There's no the religion hasn't really started to get interjected, right? From what we would traditionally think as a religion, right? The
yeah,
Messiah, blah blah blah, the story. You're just on a knowledge journey right now. Yeah.
yeah,
Have you
yeah.
even considered that this is a religion at this point? Like, have you is your brain
No,
even no? No, I
Not
don't
at
think so.
all. It's you know, there's so many things that are taken from Buddhism as well. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard, bro, he took from everybody. I mean, seriously. I mean, the whole thing. Okay, there's a book in Scientology called New Slants on Life, and chapter 2 of that book is called Personal Integrity. And the first line of chapter 2 says, Scientology is only true for you if you have, observed it or experienced it. Then it's real for you. But if it's not real for you, then it's not true for you. You don't have to believe it. Okay, so that same concept is also in Buddhism, where the Buddha said, like, don't just trust me, go out and use it and apply it
No,
and
no,
see if
I
it's
get
true
that.
for
I
you.
get that. But Buddhism doesn't come with a bunch of books that tells you to sit in a mirror first to try and like put down a
No, that's
ground
true.
level. Do you see what I'm saying?
That's
So
true. But that stems
Buddhism,
from magic.
exactly, right? Because it's fascinating, right? Because I can guarantee you at this point, you're like, these guys don't know who they're dealing with. They're not going to get me. I'm just here for the knowledge, right? And
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they start hooking you, when you start seeing, like I say, let's just call it mystical results. Just really just paraphrasing this, right? When you start seeing hints of mystical results, that is just going to. I mean, it's the same if you throw certain elements into fire, they change color, right? That's a visual. Okay, I can see a result, right? And
yeah,
I can tell you, man, like that has worked its wonders on you. Like that, the whole side of, and it's fascinating because it won't just be you, right?
mm,
And Jojo said it's manipulation. It's manipulation, but it's not in the traditional sense because they've perfected making you ask for the things you previously didn't want. Do you see what I
mhm,
mean? It's
mhm.
fascinating because I've not heard you mention anything about religion. It's been about how to get away from toxic people, how to have better relationships, how to better yourself, better yourself, better yourself, better yourself.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's really interesting. And
That
again,
that was that was the intention. It's just knowledge, and
oh
it's
yeah, I
that
get that.
curiosity.
Hmm.
The intention was not the
Oh,
spiritual aspect of it, or
I get
it's
that. But you got to
yeah,
understand, most people who go through something like a cult or something like this, they want to grab hold of a reason that frees them from the accountability of looking silly for getting pulled in the first place. It's a common thing, right?
yeah.
But what's fascinating about you is you don't even realize that you're in a cult right now. You're just in a cool library, and now they've brought in hot chicks, so
Right,
the ball's rolling. So
right.
you've done these courses, you're tanning out 3 a week. You've been told that you need to come and join. What happens next?
I basically just kept doing 3 week, and then I was like, okay, I've got school and I've got
Mhm.
work and I've got, my mates and I've got all this kind of stuff. I cannot come and work for you guys. I cannot come and join you. But there is some of the things that I like about you guys. By the way, this is me speaking at the time, not me speaking about it with the knowledge that I
Of
have
course.
now,
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
we got you.
But I was like, you guys are very anti-drugs, and so you have drug-free world, and you're very pro-human rights and stuff. I wouldn't mind helping out with some of these campaigns. I wouldn't mind helping out, like on the weekends or something. Okay, fine, I'll come and help out with some because it's a good cause. I'll come and help
But
out with
it
some of that
lines
stuff.
up with your morals. It was a
Yeah,
pre-existing.
yeah,
Okay, interesting. Okay.
yeah. I mean, exactly right. So I would do that, and then they're like, "Great, okay, let's get you to sign this contract or whatever. This volunteer contract. Great, sign here, sign here, sign here. Fantastic. Here's a film. I'm going to show you a tour of the building or whatever. Great. There's that. There's that. Okay, good. We'll get you on the weekend schedule. Then it increases to three
Hmm.
days, to 4 days, to
Hmm.
five
Of
days, to
course it
six
does.
days, to all day, to
Oh, yeah, exactly.
then
From no book to one book to no course to one course to three course. I can see it.
yeah,
So
slowly, slowly, bit by
slowly,
bit,
slowly. I'm
right?
going to hit you, and I'm going to give you a gift here. And this is Ron's iPhone analogy of grooming. Okay.
It's on a
Think about
gradient.
No, think about the iPhone 1. You probably weren't even born, right? It came with a touch screen. You could make phone calls and make text messages. That was it.
Right.
iPhone 1. We're on iPhone 17. It's got a tracking device, a high definition microphone, a 4K camera, your face recognition, your
Yeah.
thumbprint, your business cards, your bank cards, and all your banking information. If they
Right.
had
Yeah.
told you that what was going to be in the iPhone 1, no one would have bought it. It took
Yeah.
25 years of slow grooming before now we're screwed. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it's
dude.
the same slow approach to it all. And okay, so you're doing your weekends. They're now upped it. Carry on with your story.
Yeah. So I mean, it basically took off from there. So I started off by doing weekends, and then it built up to doing 3 days to 4 days to 5 days to 6 days, to having no days off, to doing all day. And that was because they put me through an IQ test, which they said did pretty well at it. So they made me the HES. They made me HES, which is when you
Oh,
get
come on, tell us.
transferred.
Come on, tell us how much. Tell us how smart you are. Come on. What was the number? Come on.
so
What was the
so
number?
so when you
Come
so when you become the HES, you
Yeah.
basically run a third of the organization. So I got given yeah.
No,
I basically
what was your IQ test? Come on, what was the result? Was it like 152 or something, or
I
140?
actually don't know.
Oh,
They have it.
it
They
must
have
have
a
been something outrageous, and he doesn't want to tell us because it was such a high number. That's why.
I wish I printed off my personality test and my IQ test. Otherwise, I'd
Yeah,
show it.
yeah.
I still got some stuff that I took with me, like all my awards and everything I was commended for, but I never
We'll
printed that
do a
off.
show and tell in a little while. Don't worry. But going from weekends to every day, right? You
Yeah,
just kind of rattled past that. How
yeah.
long? How many months did that take? How many months from just weekends to you are now, without realizing it, fully balls deep in this?
Maybe 7 months,
7 months, wow.
maybe
And
7 or 8 months.
did they get you over a summer holiday? Did they get you after you'd left school, or was this after school in the evenings and things like that?
I think this was actually during the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh.
Oh,
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It was a holiday for sure. I know that. But like I said, it happened, over time, and you find a way to kind of make it happen or whatever, and you become intensely on the team of trying to better people, of trying
yeah,
to
and
help in
still
any way you
no
can.
religion. Again, you're still talking
Yeah,
about it was about bettering people. It was about all of this. So
yeah.
it's really interesting
It
because
is interesting.
well, because most people they go, these crazy Scientologists, what are they thinking? Right? Like, what are they thinking? Well, it's fascinating when you
Yeah,
take away the traditional horror story of the vulnerable person needed a hole to fill, they get sucked in. That's the traditional kind of stuff.
it's not always the case. You'd be surprised. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a kid thinking your library's cool. It's wild. It
It
really
is
is
wild.
wild. So you're now
Yeah,
7 days a week. Can I just ask you, right at this
yeah,
point,
yeah.
has any family or friends had a concerned word with you at this point?
No, so my sisters go to school. They're very young. They, have swimming and gymnastics and
Mhm.
school and stuff. And then my mother's pretty old school mother. She does not know what's basically like me,
Yeah.
like a stage one, where it's like I don't know what that is. I've heard of the
Well,
name,
plus
but I don't know what
you're
the hell that is.
I imagine you're coming home and going, self help, better myself, self help,
I
help people
actually
get
never
better.
preached it when I got home.
Well,
They
no, no.
wanted
But
me to.
if they were asking you about it, I can't imagine you were going, right, well,
Yeah.
aliens. Okay, mom,
Well,
aliens and volcanoes. It was all self help. That's really interesting, man, because
yeah,
that
yeah,
really explains how people can walk away from Scientology and their friends go, oh, well, okay, that sounds quite interesting, actually. It's, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I thought it was a crazy religion because at this point, you talking about it, I feel like I want to say, oh, I thought it was a crazy religion. I mean, I know it is, right? But if I wasn't educated, doesn't sound like an issue up until this point. I'm not going to lie. Everything sounds like a young man making decisions for himself on a self-prepared knowledge journey.
yeah.
Oh man, I
That's
can't
all it
wait.
is.
I just can't
That's
wait for
all.
the bomb to drop, Amir. I can't wait till we get to the penny dropping moment. Okay, so we're
Hyping
seven
me up.
days a week now. We're 7 days a week. Mum, sisters have no knowledge. You're just a proactive. You're into this journey you're on. Nobody's
Dude, I'm
worried.
an executive at this point. Like I got sent to France, I got sent to Paris, I went to
Whoa,
delegates
whoa, whoa,
conferences.
whoa. How old are you at this point?
At this point, 20, 21.
Okay, so you're a proper adult, right? So you're past the teen phase. You are a proper adult.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, tell us about and go into like let's delve into this side now, right? So we're at the point where things get serious. This is Scientology now, all right? You're representing the whole concept of you were looking for knowledge. We just have to assume now that you know what you're in. Okay, you
They're
know you're in.
tracking you, Ron.
Oh, listen, they're always tracking me. Okay, they can try their best. Okay, Ron is ready 24/7. Okay, so what was that period like? Was there a moment? And I want you to be honest. Was there a moment during
Always.
this last period where you felt like you were elevating above non-Scientologists? Did you start to feel that mindset creeping in?
That's a very good
And that
question.
can be from a healthy point of view or an unhealthy point of view, Amir. It's not,
I
don't try and worry too much why I'm asking. But
yeah.
yeah,
No, not at all, not at all. I actually think that that's a very unhealthy mindset to have. Like any level of superiority
when you're aware
in
of it,
that.
yes. When you're
It's
aware of
just
it,
it's
yeah.
I think it's horrible personally.
Mhm.
I think just because you are of a certain race or religion or because you carry a certain amount of knowledge doesn't mean that you are like
That's not the
above
argument.
somebody in
That's
some
not the argument.
I hate that way of thinking so
I
much.
get that, but that's not the argument or the question.
Of
Okay.
course, of course.
Because
No, I didn't feel that way, but I felt that I had a responsibility to give somebody those tools so that they could go and apply it.
excellent.
That's the best
Okay.
way to sum up.
So
But
you felt
other
like your
people did feel that
knowledge,
way.
not you. So you felt like you had obtained a knowledge that you could bestow rather
Yeah.
than look at me, I am all knowing. And I'm not Jesus, I'm not saying that's what you were like, but that's a very exaggerated other end of the stick of where your mindset was at. So interesting. Okay, so okay, hang on,
Yeah.
let me just
Yeah.
save somebody's asked. Anisha's asked a question for later. I want to save. Okay, so I mean, what was it like? And what was it that they said to you that you were going to be doing? Like, what is the sorry? What was your position that you said you were in?
I was the heads, so the HCO executive secretary. So
Okay,
that's without going too much into the terminology, that's running 1/3 of your organization. So L. Ron Hubbard says that were to have if only 3 people could run a Scientology organization, at minimum 3 people, one of them would be the heads, which was what I was. But
wow,
if you look at it like on that massive board which shows the hierarchy and stuff, it's yeah, it's a pretty high position in the organization.
yeah. I mean, it's a serious position, right? I mean,
It
it's a
is.
notable position,
You're over
and
security, you're over ethics, you're
mhm,
over
yep.
promotion and marketing, you're over raising enough money to pay the bills,
Yeah,
you're over
and just
sales.
to keep in perspective, that is when you've gone from working weekends to 7 months later being in this position. Now,
Yeah, it's very
that's
intense.
not because Scientology are a bunch of idiots. That's because you were an incredibly outstanding student and candidate, right? Let's be honest here, because those numbers are mad, Amir. Like
Yeah.
that is that's like child prodigy on Wall Street stuff to be in that position at that. Do you see, I mean, it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Wall Street analogy has its other connotations. They're both littered with connotations.
You
Okay,
do kind of feel like Jordan Belfort because you're sitting in your
right?
suit and you're trying
Well,
to
that's
make
what
as
I
much
mean.
money as possible from people, and
And 21, right? And
it's a bit of
21.
a con. You do kind of feel like Jordan Belfort.
Okay. Well, okay. So take us through that part of the journey now. But and if you can go into some details about the trips, what they were about, and any signs that the public might not have fully agreed with Scientology that you may stuff started seeing, if any, on your travels. But tell us about the travels if you can.
Yeah, so that whole thing about being concerned about what I'm hearing from the public came from
Mm,
when I got transferred over from this massive executive role that I had to a more PR kind of dealing with people kind of role, right? Which came later on. So, but
yeah, we'll
the
get
whole trip thing was basically there's a thing called the International Association of Scientologists, the IES, and they have an event. They have a very big event which takes place in East Grinstead, Sussex. At the end of the year, which is what Tom Cruise attends, and yada
okay.
yada yada. Okay, and they have a conference, and the IES basically claims, if you look at their website or whatever, they basically claim to be a humanitarian body that helps with Drug-Free World campaign, and that helps with the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, the CCHR. That's very, very, very anti-psychiatry.
Mm,
It helps with applied scholastics and teaching kids and teaching people and helping them with their literacy levels and educating them with that. So it claims to be like if you donate to the IES, you are seen as a humanitarian. That's basically what it's seen as, right? So you it's like attending the United Nations. That's literally the vibe of the whole thing. So I would go, and I would go because nobody else wanted to go, or because I was a good candidate to go. And so they nominated me, and they paid for my flight and stuff, and sent me to France. They sent me to Paris, which was honestly a really really good time because I would just mess around. I would end up. What happens is you go, you make friends. Everyone stays in this hotel, and then you go and see the Eiffel Tower, and you jump on scooters and you zip around Paris at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you maybe go grab a drink or whatever from reception, and you get to travel, and then you go, and it was actually really cool. Besides the conference, the actual having to attend the conference, I actually fell asleep on one conference, and then it's so funny, dude. Like I remember there's one conference I stayed up all night in Paris. I did not, and I fell asleep in the conference, and the lady next to me was from Dublin, and she kind of like had to give me the shoulder.
I'm glad you told me that, right? Because, well, no, I am. Because see, if you were brainwashed beyond saving, you would have been in bed at 8 o'clock the night before, bro. Okay. You would have been in bed at night, but in some crazy Scientology pajamas, right? Like the ones that are like a shirt, okay, with like a candle for if you need to pee during the night, and like a sock hat. Like you really would have. So you're like, oh, expenses paid trip to Paris, baby. Oh my God. I've got a funny feeling you groomed Scientology. I feel like they're the victim in your story, Amir. Like, I'm not going to lie. I feel like up to this point, you've done a great job of just taking everything you need. It's fantastic. But look, up until this point, have people come into Scientology that you've maybe made friends with and they've disappeared? Have you started seeing or hearing any of the horror stories about what if your family disagree with Scientology? Was there anything in discussions of bringing in your family, or how, because that's the nightmare horror stories, like that is the big projected, if you are opposition, your family's out. Did you start hearing or seeing anything like that, or is that kept under lock?
Mostly it is kept under rock, and most of the crazy stuff that we know about and that everyone that's watching this knows about, they don't know about themselves, because like that stuff is you have to be in for a certain number of years to read that material, or the crazy stuff that I'm telling you, like some of this stuff, like even if you took LSD, you wouldn't come up with something that crazy, but that stuff, like that's confidential. Like you wouldn't even do that in Scotland. You would have to go to what's called an advanced organization and go and do that stuff too. And also you'd have to walk around with a briefcase that's handcuffed to your wrist. So if you're driving your car, you've got the briefcase kind of handcuffed to you. It's like, honestly, it's like you've got the nuclear launch codes. That's
but that's the thing. See, again though, right? As a visual for your next step up, right? You're like, freaking briefcases on freaking handcuffs, bro. That's pretty sick too, right? I mean, it's again what is in there. It's the visuals that work so well that go along with all this, and keeping it under lock. Yeah, I can imagine that, and we will get to that, right? We will get to all of this. So you've basically you've continued on what I will now refer to as you grooming Scientology for a bunch of free holidays for this period of the year, right? Obviously, I'm joking. It's still a nightmare you were trapped in. Where else did you go? You went to France. Did you go to anywhere else?
I was back and forth between Scotland and England, but Paris was the best one for sure.
Okay. Did you find any levels of differing crazy between America and the UK side of Scientology, or is it all equally bammy across the board?
The manuscript is the same, and
it's the same, right?
The books are the same, and the material's the same, and what so it's basically the same. But there is people that.
Yeah, but listen, McDonald's is the same here, and like, if you look at McDonald's in America and McDonald's here, right? Like it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing, right? One is very much Americanized, right? So is it just standard sort of British version, standard American version, and everything you would expect from both sides is kind of what you'll find?
Funny story. I can't eat McDonald's in America. This is disgusting for me.
It's all disgusting, bro. Okay, it's all disgusting. But my point is, one in America is slightly bigger, and the fries have got 72 ingredients in them. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I love America, love Americans. Shout out my brother and sisters.
So do I, but not the food. Not the food.
It's wild.
It's wild. It's wild.
Bro,
I know.
Like, did you ever like look at an American loaf of bread?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? It's not bread. I'll tell you that right now. It's not bread. Like, it's more like a squishy toy than bread.
They take it to a different level over there, man.
They really do. Also, like, why is everything in such big? Like, why do I need a 5-kilo bag of Doritos? Like,
yeah, I mean, I've never once finished lunch or breakfast in America. Never once. It's just,
we're definitely on different pages there. Okay, you've learned to like deal. You know what portion control is. I'm the other end of. I've probably had meals your size, Amir. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, like I'm just saying. So it's wild. Okay, so you've done the traveling. You're back. Let's get to the point where you're back now. And is that when you got your next promotion into the PR side of things, or was there furthermore? It was right after that, right? Okay, so take us into what started happening when you went into that side of things.
So I got told that before I was going to Paris, before I was going to France, I got told that I was going to be transferred over. But by the way, that was for strategic reasons, because they, okay, without going too much into it, but they need people, like, period. They need people. If you want to go and you want to move into these big fancy buildings, which is a program, right? Then you need people to do it. You need staff, and you need enough people so that you can sell them services, so that you can keep the lights on and pay the staff.
Oh God, okay.
So you need people. So they're like, okay, we need to put Amir into the public side of things. So it's called the public divisions. So we're going to stick him into there, and he's going to jump on. He's going to have full creative control over social media. He's going to sell books. He's going to go out. He's going to deal with people. He's going to, basically, his job is to create as many new practicing Scientologists as possible, or to get as many people practicing it as possible. That was basically my task. Okay. So I would go to Glasgow and I would do that. I would go to events and I would do that. We were having conversations about going to Parliament and putting on, talks there. And we were kind of negotiating that. Didn't quite fall through because I ended up leaving for other reasons. But, there was all of this stuff, and I was delivering lectures and I was doing all this kind of stuff, right? And that's basically what I got transferred over to. And then that, I ended up going to the IS event, this major event. And then that's basically...
Tell us about the event. Tell us about the event.
Okay, you want to get into the IS event? So
I do, because you skipped over that way too fast, right? So I was like, okay, it's time to get the winkle stick out. I'm going to make you big screen as well. I want to look right in your eyes as you're telling me I'm here. All right, so tell us about it. Nothing bad happened, right? This isn't like a traumatic event or anything, right? Like nobody like...
No, it's just the IS is always interesting. The IS is always interesting. I mean, the IS is the biggest event that Scientology hold annually in terms of money they make, when it comes to fundraising and attendance.
So, and after the good job you did at the last event, they brought out a certain level of hot girl. You're now the poster child. So you're like, wheel them out for a meeting. No, I'm kidding. Right. So you're at this event, right? And again, it's the biggest one. And again, you're young, bro. You've done exceptionally well on your journey. Like, I'm not being funny. At this point, you're like, I'm smashing this. And again, that's just from what you have joined to get from it. I imagine that this chapter very different, because it's not entirely just your self-propelled study, which you're still doing, but this is you're in it now, right? You've done the whole awesome being flown around and doing stuff. Again, awesome. And now you're at this huge event. So take us through that, brother.
Yeah, the IS event, I mean, it's quite something to speak about. I've tried to kind of write about it a little bit, and there's so many stories to release on my Substack and stuff, but it's really interesting. But like I was saying before, it is the biggest event financially and attendance-wise that Scientology hold annually. It takes place at the end of the year, around October, November. But I would say that, the end of October or the very, very beginning of November. This is the one that Tom Cruise goes to.
Oh my God, I've just Googled it, bro. Like,
There we go. That's
what is that? Holy Jesus.
it's
Is
it's
that a
actually
live stage? Is that like, obviously this is a graphic here, right?
right,
But
right, right.
is this all stage?
So that is all a stage. That's actually a different place because that's the New
Oh
Year's
wow.
event, which takes place over in the States. But the IS
Okay.
event is in East Grinstead, Sussex, in the very, very south of England. But it's a massive tent. It's a massive marquee.
I think I found it. I found it.
Did you?
Yep. Okay. So that
There we go.
it's a marquee, is it? Is
Yeah,
it
so
is this what we is it listen, I've seen a
that's the one that I
marquee.
was at.
It costs 29.90 quid from Argos, mate. Okay, £29 from Argos. That's a marquee. Okay. This is basically this is an engineering feat, right? Anyone that can put up a tent this size is wild. So this is the one, right? And again,
This is the
this
tent,
is
yeah.
this is major.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, I mean, they raise billions of dollars from
Get
this
back
event.
to the story, Amir. I'm going to stop AD. I'm going to actually mute myself and just let you tell the story of this event.
No, don't mute yourself. Don't mute. No. But I mean, this event is massive. It's absolutely massive because they are just saying that listen, we're doing a great job freeing people from drugs and saving the planet and saving the world, and this is such a solid cause, and you are becoming a humanitarian by donating to this cause. That we want as much money from you as humanly possible. So people pay 50 grand, people pay 100 grand, people pay 250 grand. And the guys that at the very top, at the pinnacle of all of this stuff, we're talking about Patricia Duggan, we're talking about Tom Cummings, we're talking about Manuel Suarez, we're talking about Tony Toomey, we're talking about Grant Cardone, we're talking about Lord knows what Tom donates. We don't know what Tom donates because those numbers aren't publicized.
Tom doesn't donate nothing.
Billions.
In fact, he will donate everything because I believe we're looking at a blackmail web, but we'll get to that. Oh God, I was meant to be quiet. Sam said she's going to count how long I stay quiet for, and then somehow you've made me talk. I'm not. That one doesn't count. That was Amir's fault. Right, go back to what you were saying. Go back to what you're saying.
That was not my fault.
100%.
No. I don't mind you jumping in as well, but the IS event is very intense. It's basically like the wolf. It's basically the Wolf of Wall Street. Every executive, every Sea Org member, which is the elite priesthood that give up all their property and give up having children and stuff, and there's a lot to say about the Sea organization, right? But these guys are very, very intensely on the mission of Scientology. Every staff member, every executive, every Sea Org member, those guys are just there to make money. And like Vegas, the guys that go like the public, they're just there to spend money. They're just there to give up as much money as humanly possible. That is it. I mean, it's very intense. It's very intense. The leader shows up as well. David Miscavige shows up to this thing.
This is all part of the game, right? So if you can put on an event, that looks like this, okay, this is where millionaires are going to come to rub shoulders with the leaders of Scientology. This is where the big this is the big fishing net for the big money. And again,
the biggest.
What were you talking about just there? We've got people off drugs. Look at how we're helping people. If they'd just taken the mad religion out of this, right, nobody would be talking crap about them.
It's a lot to talk crap about, bro. There's a lot of talk.
Oh, no, I know there is. But the way that people are being drawn into this, isn't because of religion, which is kind of where I thought it was at for a long time, right?
Do you know what's funny? This whole talk about getting people off drugs is a load of nonsense because the truth is they're not going to help you get off any drugs unless you pay up $2 grand. That's the truth of it. That's
people freaking love them, mate. People, they just sell themselves, bro. Like, people love them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem with these substances. You know what I'm saying? When people start using substances to fulfill and to forget and to fill holes and all the rest of it, anything can be dangerous, really. And I'm all for people not having substance addiction. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Hang on 1 second.
Me too.
And I mean, that is a major thing, right? Like, because when it comes to the work that people do with substances and the recovering addicts and things like this, I think a lot of people forget the journey to the substance, right? Nobody
Yeah.
wakes up one day and goes, do you know
That's
what
true.
I'm going to do today? I'm going to go and get a lung full of the C word, the smokable white stuff or the injectable brown stuff. It's
Yeah.
trauma that brings people to these places. You know what I'm saying? And when people have to repeat to forget, that is the hideous
Dude, it's
road.
very intense, man. It's
Yeah.
almost depressing to think about.
Yeah. Oh, any kind of trauma. And
Yeah.
again, it's not the substance. Okay. It's the trauma. It's the
Yeah.
abuse that leads people to that. And it fascinates me because I've seen families that
Yeah.
have fallen apart because of alcohol. I've seen families that have fallen apart because of
So have
narcotics.
I.
I've seen families fall apart because of gambling and cheeseburgers and adult material. Okay. Very
Yeah.
different substances, same outcome though, bro, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's crazy.
Right. It's
It's
amazing,
crazy.
and it is fascinating the fact that
Yeah.
it can just cave someone in and destroy families
Yeah.
and destroy, and it is
Of
obviously
course.
a real problem. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
devastating.
But people need to focus on the reason they got there. Okay. That's my point. And yeah, see, Tiffany, do you know what's fascinating is when we usually talk about cults and Scientology, we're talking about somebody who it feels like they were groomed and pulled in. The fascinating story about Amir's story is he was so blinded by his own journey and the knowledge and just being part of something that I can just I would have loved to have just seen your face when the religious side smashed you in the side like a freaking like a derailed truck, bro.
I would have been a
Because
pretty cool guy. I would have been a pretty cool guy there. We would
I'm
have got along really well.
bro, listen. I'm like I'm still convinced that you groomed Scientology. You're like one of the only people out of Scientology where I'm like,
Come on,
actually,
even in
they
that
kind of
phase, I'm
they
pretty
might
chill
have got
guy.
you. They might have got you right at the end, but for the first 90%, you were just like, give me the knowledge.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm okay with
give
it.
me the
I'm okay with it.
knowledge.
And okay, so you're part of the PR company. You've gone to this huge event, the IS event. You've seen again the grandeur. I imagine having the reinforcement of the public admiration for Miscavige reinforced to you. Oh wow, this is bigger. This bigger than the knowledge, right? Did you start to get a kind of inkling that you could be drawn into something that wasn't necessarily just about the knowledge?
So that stuff came later on. Do you know what's funny? Like, see, it doesn't matter which event I attended or whenever I saw David speak or whenever, I met, like, for example, I met L. Ron Hubbard. I met his daughter. I met Diana Hubbard, and I had a conversation with her. We didn't speak about Scientology at all. We just spoke about Gene Kelly and 1950s films and Frank Sinatra and stuff. And it was a very chill conversation. But, like, see, whenever I speak to these people or attend this stuff, I'm just like, wow, it's very interesting. It's fascinating. I'm not like when I self-reflect back onto that time
Mhm.
or my mindset or how I was thinking at that time, I was never once this true believer. I like with the stuff that I was doing, a true believer wouldn't even like fathom that, wouldn't even think about doing stuff like that. But it was interesting. It was really interesting, the whole experience. I think I
Okay,
was, when we
okay.
were speaking before, and I was like, do you know when you've had a dream and you wake up and you're like, was that real or was that a dream? Like I
What
cannot.
happened? What happened at the event, Amir? There's something that's happened at this event that has pushed you on to the next stage. What happened at this event? Was it a discussion where you made an offer? Was it just seeing everything? But I feel like this event, the way you rushed over it before, I feel like there was a crucial moment that you even yourself judge yourself for that shift in mindset that possibly took place at this event.
So I would say I mean, the most significant thing that I would say that happened at the event was when I saw Alexander Barnes Ross protesting, and I asked one of the security because I was late and I was also
Mhm.
staying in Crawley, so nobody could give me a lift to St. Hill, so I had to jump on a cab, and it very, very painfully hurt my wallet because it's like 40 quid from Crawley or whatever, right?
Right.
So I had to jump on a taxi, and then I was late, and then taxi came in, and then I saw a bunch of guys protesting, and then I was cool with everybody, so I was like, to the security guards, "Who is that?" And then he told me who that was, and then I went and did research about it after, and that was the most significant point. But I mean, There's several stories from the IS event that I could tell you. I mean, when I tried to meet the leader, David Miscavige, I had a whole thing with his security. I tried to meet Tom Cruise. I had a whole thing with his security.
Oh, hell yeah.
I met the founder's daughter. I met the Cardone. Like there's so many stories.
So was that where you felt solidified into the upper levels? It must have been. That must have been where that was established, because that must have been major, bro. Like 20 years old.
Which thing?
Well, all of it. Being in the vicinity of celebrities, being introduced to the family of the guy who runs the organization.
Tom Cruise is a very good-looking guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he came up to your.
He's aura farming.
Yeah, all 5 foot one of them. All 5 foot one of them.
He is small, man. He is small.
It's official, Amir. In fact, you know what, Amir? You better. No, I don't think you can legally say that. Right? I'm not even being funny. I'm sure Tom Cruise's lawyers. Because you can't. No one can talk about Tom Cruise, bro. So I would just say that's my opinion, not Amir's. Okay, because I'm telling you, bro, he's ruthless. He's ruthless, man. He spends tens of millions every year to keep the in the closet stuff and the height stuff locked down. It's wild, but you heard it here, folks. Exclusive.
I'm very insecure about my height, but I mean, I think that takes it to a different level.
No, don't be insecure about your height. Okay, that is social media and LA that's made you feel like that. Okay,
bro. That's because I used to play football, and I was like, I played for Kelly Hearts Football Club, and then there's a point where everyone just everyone inflated in puberty.
Yeah,
and
listen.
There was like 15-year-olds with grown mustaches.
Yeah, bro, I'm built like a dwarf. I'm built like a Lord of the Rings dwarf. Okay, like I've got a low center of gravity.
I get that.
Well, listen, you see the Scottish team in the World Cup, they were all 5'3". Okay. One guy made a header, 1950s, I called him. He looked like a freaking old school like model from the 90s, but 1950s was the only one that got a header, and all the rest of them were like 5'2", man. Do you know why that is? Because they all stopped smoking soap bar when they were 12. That's what goes on in Scotland. Okay, so you're at this event, you've met these people. It must have elevated your brain and made you think, I'm really part of something now. When you got back from that event, what took place? What was the next stage in your life with Scientology, bro?
So after that event, I went to Paris. I went to France. I went to an IS delegates conference. I hung around in Paris with some friends. We roamed around, went to bars, went to all sorts of places, made a bunch of friends there, came back, went back to Scotland. So I flew from Charles de Gaulle to Edinburgh Airport, and then went back into the York, went back into the organization, made it just in time for a staff meeting, which is every Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And then basically from that point on, I was hearing a bunch of things from people because I was working in the public divisions, and I was also doing my research about guys that had defected and guys that had spoken out and guys that, former executives and guys that, credible people, right? I was doing my research and I was reading books, and there was a library next to the organization as well, because, it is Southbridge. I mean, it's like, it's right in the city in Edinburgh. Like everything is there. There's Waterstones, there's Blackwells, there's everything, right? So started doing my research as well. And then I had reached out to Alex. I'd reached out to him privately. And by the way, as painful as it is to praise him, he's very impressive, Alex. I mean, some people, because I would reach out to loads of people. And I got patched by a lot of people as well. A lot of people didn't want to reach out to me.
Who's Alex again? Who are you talking about? Alex who?
So this is a former London staff member called Alexander Barnes-Ross. He has a YouTube channel called Apostate Alex. He has his own story, has his own experience, which he tells very well. I'm not going to tell it for him. Sure. I would encourage people to go to his channel and check it out and stuff. But
Sarah can get on that for us, for sure.
Alex is basically public enemy number one in the UK.
Basically. For Scientology?
Yeah, he's public enemy number one in the UK.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, so.
And just to be clear, Scientology are no joke, right? I mean, we're having a good time, Amir. We're having a lot of laughs, we're having a good time, right? But just for people to understand, like, people get followed home, their houses get smashed up, they get attacked, they get photographed, they have their lives ruined. And this is just for protesting against Scientology. Okay. So the people who turn against Scientology from within Scientology, you better not have told them any secrets in any of those interviews. Okay. Like if you have if you kissed a dude in college and you don't know if you're whatever, and you've explained that to them, they're going to use it against you. And it gets twisted. So carry on, Amir, please.
Yeah, I mean that falls into their practices because they, I mean, in the book's Introduction to Scientology Ethics, L. Ron Hubbard slams how Christianity and priests and the Catholic Church get confessions wrong, and he says, well, they're not doing this correctly because the person is blah 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 blah. So he basically twists how confessions are done. And you use their electropsychometer, their e-meter, and you also, there's a thing called an OW write-up over at some withholds where you confess all of your sins. You write it up on paper. You write as many of them as possible. Anyway, right? There's a whole kind of technology to it, which is their terminology. But anyway, the story basically goes where I reached out to Alex, and then we get talking privately. He's fantastic at getting back to you. I have to say, he got back to me very quickly. A lot of people didn't, man. A lot of people were very, by the way, I get it. I totally understand that because a lot of people have also, had their experiences and their stories where they've been betrayed and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, the point is Alex spoke to me and he actually called me on no caller ID. And then we spoke on the phone and then we, got speaking and speaking and speaking. And then I think I, got speaking to him on WhatsApp and stuff. And then he threw the idea my way that we should do a video because the angle that I'm coming at it from is I just want to know everything and I want to know everyone's perspective.
Are you still in Scientology at this point? When you message him? Yeah, okay. And is he well and truly out of it at this point, or is he still in it?
Yeah, he's been out of it for some years.
Yeah, okay. So you're still part of Scientology. You're part of the PR group. You started hearing shenanigans with regard.
I'm still an executive. Yeah.
Yep. You're still an executive. Okay. And you've reached out to a former member. Now that seems risky to me.
Try reaching out to anybody that's an enemy of your religion.
Yeah. I mean, but did you see it as your religion at that point?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Okay. Because that was a that was a moment when you said that there. Like, I'm not going to lie, but I get what you're saying. Like, I upset people all the time about their religions. Like, I just open my mouth and people get upset. I don't mean to do it. It just happens. And you messaged this guy, right? What drew you to messaging him?
Knowledge and curiosity. I mean, I got transferred over to the public side, so now I'm having to deal with people, deliver lectures, teach people about it, educate people about it, ask people have they ever heard of it, which is also part of L. Ron Hubbard policy. I'm hearing all of this stuff at the same time, which I need to try and handle, which I'm also being practiced on how to handle black publicity because they call it black PR, of course. So I'm hearing all of this stuff. And I'm just thirsty for knowledge. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me go and do my own research. Let me reach out to some people. Also, I saw Alex protesting. I want to know who that is protesting outside of the gates. So I go in, I do my own research, and I start hearing stuff. And I'm just gathering all of this knowledge, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a very commendable thing to do. It's the right thing to do, I think. So
not if you're a Scientologist, for a normal person doing your due diligence. Maybe I'll go and speak to somebody who thinks the opposite of me, get a balanced impression of the company I'm involved in. Normal Scientology, bro.
By the way, bro,
you missed that meeting, bro. Like you missed that staff meeting.
Do you know what, Rob? You're right, but it goes beyond Scientology. That goes any high control system, any high control.
Of course,
they do not want you.
Any company, bro. Any company, even if it was a multinational business or whatever. So it's speaking with the enemy is what we're talking about here, right? It's like speaking with the tainted. So how did that all go? Tell us about it.
Went great. I mean, I had a conversation with Alex. We then set up a YouTube video. So, by the way, never been done before, Ron. Never, ever been done before. No executive, no staff member, nobody has ever went and spoken to an enemy of the organization.
I can tell you why, Amir.
On YouTube with no permission.
Yeah,
Like, it's
I'm just about to
never
say, yeah, because you never talked about it, bro. Right? I imagine you
Sure, I never
kept
told
all of this
anybody.
in your head in the land of Amir, okay? In the land of Amir, where it's nice and safe, okay? Because normal people would have been a lot more vocal than you, I think. People like to get triggered.
Yeah,
I think your ability to just go, maybe I'll ping out some
I just
emails.
kept my mouth shut, right?
Yeah, yeah, bro. Right. Okay. So through the wise choice of keeping it stum, you have managed to meet with the enemy while still being fully employed in your position at Scientology. Where does it go from here?
By the way, it was such a good strategic move because
Actually, go
that
back. You were
video
just
would have never made history. That video would have never happened if I did ask for permission. So, I mean,
that.
that was
Can we go back to just how big a deal the video was? Sorry, that's what you were saying before when I cut you off. So
dude,
talk about the
it
video itself.
it's never been done before. I mean, no executive, no staff member has ever went and spoken to an enemy of the organization or the church or whatever on YouTube with no permission whatsoever and done an interview like that. It's never happened before. And so if an organization or a business or a religion or a high control system or high control environment or group has never seen or dealt with something before or expected something to happen before, it's like one of the biggest WTF moments in the entire history of it. Because how do you deal with something that's never happened before? You can't deal with that because you've never seen it. But you know what I mean? It's just it's huge. It's huge. So I still speak to people today that reach out to me under the radar or people that were involved in that life before, and they're like, my jaw was on the floor when I seen that happen. Like it's never happened before. So we did that, and we had a great conversation. We set rules. We said we're not going to speak about the leader, David Miscavige. We're not going to speak about any classified or confidential material. Sorry, confidential material classified as strictly but government. Confidential material. We're not going to speak about any of that stuff. And let's just have a chat. Let's just have a normal chat because we both think that communication is important. Also, per Scientology policy, communication is important. Per the creed, communication is universal solvent. I also believe personally that it's good to talk to people. If people have problems in life, if people are going through things, if people are, if family members differ on politics or differ in religion or whatever, just don't judge. Just speak to one another. I think that it's such an important thing to have. Because I don't know what the alternative is when you cut communication completely. I think that that's a terrible thing to do, right?
I agree.
Seems logical. It's better than the alternative. So we had a great conversation, and then fine, that happened on Sunday. That video came out on Sunday. It was pre-recorded, by the way. It was not a live video. So we shot that, and then Alex stuck it out, I think, a few hours later or something, or maybe the next day, or maybe a few hours later. But anyway, and then I went in on Monday, and it was a completely normal day. I remember that. And then 5 minutes before I left, the boss, the current boss, the guy that runs the building now in Scotland called Malcolm Fraser. Malcolm basically said, Amir, I want to see you 5 minutes before I leave for the day, 5 minutes before I go home. And he was like, so you're a celebrity now. And immediately I knew what he was talking.
So that's how they went about it. So like, did Malcolm even like take any effort to savor the moment? Like, did he like sit down and crack his knuckles and like look you in the eye and be like, "So you're a celebrity"?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're not there yet. Oh God!
Not yet.
I know it's coming.
But how does he even find out? Because I can answer.
There's the internet, Amir. I know you're in libraries a lot, right? But there's this thing called the internet, mate. Right? We're all connected to it. Okay, you're looking for your knowledge in the right place. The rest of us are Googling stuff. All right, so that's probably where the surprise is coming for you, bro. But yeah, I imagine
that's
this.
True. That's true. But I will tell you, there's multiple policies and references by L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, that say that you do not spread black publicity, and you do not. Okay, there's another policy called enemy lines, for example. You don't forward enemy lines, but you do not spread bad news. Period. You do not spread if somebody says something, which is, by the way, highly effective when it comes to high control environments and high control groups. If somebody's saying something bad about your group or your religion or your belief system or whatever, you don't talk about that. You only talk about the good things and the positives. It's a very, very effective thing that is used in these high control groups. Steve Hassan, I give him so much credit. He's, given us the bite model, which, you can use very well. Anyway, I use it all the time personally. But there is a lot of information control, a lot of information control that goes on in abusive relationships and high control groups. So Malcolm would not go and seek this information out. Like, he just wouldn't. Like, nobody does that in Scientology. You don't go out. Well, people obviously do, but you're not supposed to. It breaks policy, and you'll go into ethics right, immediately if you end up doing stuff like that.
He'll have got an email from an overlord above him, bro. 100%.
Probably.
100%, bro.
Probably. That's the story he didn't tell me.
Well, he's the only guy. I mean, there's only one Scientology building, right? So he's the dude. Like, he is the dude, regardless of how qualified he is for his job, right? He's the dude. So I imagine he'll have got a phone call from a high up social media minion and just went, the poster boys went rogue. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I notoriously hate working with the guys at London when it came to Scientology. Notoriously, I did not get along with the London guys. I mean, I thought they were bullies. I thought they were assholes. I thought they were several other things, which I'm not going to say online. But they weren't nice people, and they always delayed, and they worked incredibly slowly, and they were not very kind people that I didn't get along with as much as I tried to. But it was somebody from London. It was actually a guy called Harry who runs their Life Improvement Centre on Tottenham Court Road in London. Basically got in touch with Malcolm and told him that he saw me online on YouTube speaking with Alex. And like I said, Alex is public enemy number 1 in the United Kingdom. So anyway, he's just questioning me at this point. He's like, okay, how did this happen? Like, I'm sure you did a great job, but how did this happen? Tell me, Amir. So he gets pen, gets paper, and starts writing down all of this information. And he goes, great, thank you. And then he runs upstairs, and then I leave for the day. I come in the next day. That's basically it, man. Pandora's box is opened after that, and I have to deal with all of the crap that you have to deal with when you start speaking to people the
poster boy's gone rogue, bro. The poster child's gone rogue, man. I can see it now. Oh, man.
So I basically, after that day, I went through 2 weeks of interrogations. It was basically a witch hunt. It's like
let's not rush through the interrogations. So 2 weeks of interrogation, because again, you hear that word and you think legal issues, but there's nothing stopping you flipping a table and leaving the room, right? So it's an interesting one. So tell us how that all went, because for a start, I imagine your story never changed from the first time you were asked. How did all this come about? Oh, well, I emailed him and then done a video and then we put it on the internet, mate. Like, I imagine that was your story throughout it all. What was their line of question? What was their angle on this?
Yeah, I had to lie quite a bit, though, to be honest, because seriously, for my own safety, I had to, because they don't realize that I was getting in touch and asking.
So now you're fearing for your safety. This is we've taken quite a mental position jump here. Okay.
Well, because they asked to see my phone. They asked to search my phone. So this basically,
did you give your phone over to them?
No, I made up an excuse. I didn't have to.
Hell yeah. Okay.
I was not about to pass my phone over.
Are you more comfortable giving somebody a lie that they will be comfortable with in a situation like that than confrontation? And there's nothing wrong with that, because I would have been like, you want to see my what, mate? Pry it from my cold, dead hands. Whereas making up a lie would have been the smart move. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's interesting. It's interesting.
You do, in those kind of intense situations, you do instinctually what you feel is right in the moment.
Absolutely. Especially, we've seen how big the tents are. I'm just kidding. Right. So that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a pretty good one. I mean, so they basically wanted to know. Well, first of all, they wanted to stop it from ever happening ever again. Period. You can't, like, this can't happen. Like, you can't go and just talk to every single person that's declared an enemy of our mission and goal. Like, he wouldn't. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? You know, why would what you just there's certain people that you don't go out and debate and speak to. Like, why would you do that? This guy, and I wanted to go and speak to Aaron Smith Levin as well on his channel, Growing Up in Scientology, and they pulled up a website which I'd never seen before called StandLeak, which it's a whole thing stopping the discrimination of Scientologists and calling out people for their religious bigotry and all of that kind of stuff. But they were like, Amir, this guy's not going to be nice to you. Like, this guy is not going to be a cool, polite, chill guy with you. Like, this guy's a convicted criminal this guy's an anti-Semite. This guy is this and this guy is that. And
Oh yeah.
don't go and speak to Alex again because this guy is a religious bigot. And then don't go and speak to this guy. And this guy's a drug addict. And don't go and speak to this guy. And so I had to lie. Like, I didn't tell them that I was reaching out to every single declared enemy. Like, I didn't tell them that part. I just said I reached out to 2 or 3, and then I've blocked them now and I've disconnected from them. That's what I had to say. If I handed off my phone, then they would have been able to see all the emails and all the correspondence between the both of us. But I didn't do that. You see?
Have you ever been in a situation like that before? Because I imagine this has all taken place in a room, right? They've not opened the door, so you're standing on the street and have an exit, right? You've been invited into an office, told to sit down.
It's a small ethics room.
Yeah, I imagine in that ethics room, like your back's either to the door or your back.
I was furthest away from the door. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. Right. So they've because for those of you who don't know, interrogation rooms are designed in a certain way, right? You've got nice interrogation rooms and you've got not so nice interrogation rooms.
I don't like any of them.
There's 2 ways of doing it. They can stick you in a corner where the desk and them are between you and the door so that you're constantly looking at the door. That's how it was. There you go. So you're already in a position where you're a young guy. You're now trapped in a room with some dude who's telling you you've been spoken to
different guys.
Yeah. So was there ever any guys you'd never met before?
Yeah, I'd never met the guys that worked in intelligence. I never met the guys that worked in OSA. Guys like Scott. I'm not going to say the second name, but there's a guy called Scott who works in their intelligence in Dublin, Ireland, and he got flown over and he's speaking to me about all of this stuff and asking to check.
He flew in an Irish interrogator. That's what I just heard you say there. They
worked in their intelligence, yeah.
And I'm not being funny, right? Out of all the places in the UK, if you've got a guy that's an interrogator and he's coming from Ireland, right, that has a certain air of fear that comes with that. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's not even in the UK anymore. The Irish aren't part of the, but yeah, that's true. That's true.
But you know what I'm saying, right? I mean,
I do.
Like it goes if the Irish then the Scottish turn up at your door. It's in that order. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I had to deal with both, and the English and the Canadians, and yeah.
How long did the interrogations go on for? Like how many people? 2 weeks every day.
Almost every day.
Damn.
And at different points throughout the day. So I would go in, I would study, and I'd get pulled out of studying, and then I would be interrogated, or I would before I leave and go home, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can go and chill, and I can go out, and I can, interrogation. Different points throughout the day.
At this point, you're just here for the knowledge,
right? That's exactly.
Well, this is the most unique Scientology story ever.
How incredibly stupid is it that, like, if you have a very bright executive staff member in a religion or a business or a organization or a group who gets products and does incredibly well, and you need him on board, and he is such a significant role to your current plans and your future plans, and you treat him like the scum of the earth, and you interrogate him, and you get into his personal privacy,
obviously,
and you went through what do you expect is going to happen?
Because
the stupidity,
Yes. But the second part, the horror is a reality. Everything before that was the smoke and mirrors. You keep forgetting this isn't a library, Amir. This is a religion. It's just for some reason you haven't realized that, okay? And you're just there for the knowledge, okay? And when you're like me, the first thing you want to do if you want to get a clearer picture is you speak to the opposition. Like when I was on the dark web hunting cartels and hunting child predators, I interviewed them on encrypted networks on the dark web because you learn nothing from a lion in the zoo. You learn nothing from a caged predator. Okay, you have to go and speak to the opposition to learn the tactics, to know how it is they go around and do all these horrible things to prevent it. Now, I'm not saying that was your mindset, but that's what you do. You hear all sides. So again, you missed the memo about not doing that. So how serious did the interrogations get? Like, what was there any moments where you were like, this is getting a bit much?
So I tried my very best to turn it into a laugh. I tried, like,
Well,
see,
yeah,
I don't know, like, see when someone sits down with you and just lectures you, like, depending on who it is in your life, whether it's a head teacher or it's a family member that terrifies the life out of you, or it's, like, I tried in those intense situations and those intense hearings to just, and it is like a hearing because it's like, who are you associated with, and are you still associated with this person, and let me check this and let me check that, and now you're a security risk because we can't trust you with this confidential information because you're associated. It is kind of like a hearing in a way, or at least it felt that way. But I tried to crack the guy up. I tried to ease the tension. I tried to lie. I tried to get out of certain questions, and I did a pretty good job of it. I credit myself anyway for doing that. But that went on, and
you ever
that
sent
was
in an application? Have you ever sent in an application in MI6 or MI5?
no, never.
I bet you have. I bet you have. I bet you got in a recruitment area that you've had to get an NDA signed or something, man. I'm telling you, you should. You should. You definitely should. You definitely
I've
should.
never been recruited for intelligence.
100%. You should 100%. Every now and again, though, you'll see adverts that say spies wanted. I remember there was one in the Scotsman when I was about 15. NASA done one that said astronauts wanted, and MI6 had an advert out that just said spies wanted. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Maybe the more you hear about this, the more you'll be like, "Oh, dude, I'm surprised you didn't work in intelligence."
We're going to have another conversation in 10 years, and you're going to be like, well, I did it, Ron. I put in the application, and I was just there for the knowledge, and then 8 years in, I've saved the world 4 times, and I was just there for the library. Do you know what I'm saying?
Terrorism.
I'm telling you, bro. So you've gone through all this interrogation, right? Can I just refer you back to families and friends at this point? Were they getting any more vocal about this? Was there any more from your social circles, not external circles, your social circles? Was there any concerns about Scientology at this stage?
No, I didn't tell anybody about this stuff.
Oh God, same. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No. I mean, there's some things that you get involved in life where you like, for example, like on Sean Atwood's YouTube channel, on the channel,
Mm-hmm.
he's interviewed people from the Gambino crime family, guys like Michael Francis that were involved in the 5 families in the mafia. And if you listen to some of these stories, some of these guys would be involved in that kind of life. They would be involved in the mob, but when they come home, their kids don't know about it, their wife doesn't know about it. They're just involved in that life. You know what I mean? So
really interesting that you use crime lords as your analogy.
It's just an analogy, but there's certain things, and I've spoken to people and where they get involved in certain things in their life, where they just they keep it to themselves, and it's it's their business, and they keep it to themselves.
Again, in saying that, this wasn't a life-defining religion for you. This was just, again,
a
really cool library with events.
It's like a dream, man. It was like a dream, but it was some experience to have.
So
some experience.
Let's go through this interrogation period and go on with the story, okay? Because let's keep going.
Okay, so I'm back and forth in communication with Alex on the phone. So I would I'm still speaking to him. I'm still speaking to Public Enemy #1 in the UK after I'm leaving the building. He's like, for your own safety, you should probably be collecting intelligence. You should probably be collecting things, for your own personal safety in case, whatever. So I start collecting things. Things I'm not going to speak about, but I start collecting things. Because if they're interrogating me and also...
we're talking about them offline. I'm telling you that right now, Amir. We're talking about them after the interview. Okay, so you started stacking information. Carry on.
Yeah, so I basically, if they're investigating me and looking into me, then I did the same thing. So I looked into them, and I saw all the private correspondence and all the private emails and telexes, and I saw all the private...
Oh my God, you mean internally investigating? You started internally?
I saw all the internal communications.
You're a badass, Amir. You're a badass. I'm telling you this now. This is the rarest of Scientology
James.
stories, bro. It really is.
It's like, so they
They're the
anyway.
victim. They're the victim. I'm just saying. But so you went on, bro. Like people end up in freaking suitcases by this company, bro. Like this is like they make people vanish, bro. Like so you just decided to go rootling about in all of their information.
Bro, I was over security and communication, so I have access to every single room and computer.
Oh man, someone's been fired over you, Amir. Someone is definitely being fired over this. I'm telling you now. You have ruined.
That's what everyone tells me.
Oh, 100%, bro. Wow. Oh, wow. They never even seen you coming. They never even seen you coming.
No,
so now so not only are you talking to the enemy, but you've got a high level of security clearance.
The highest. Everything.
The highest. Oh, this is great. Right. No, I'm going to shut up. Carry on. So you're deep in your 007 arc of this story. So carry on.
Well, I was being treated like the scum of the earth and a piece of crap just for expressing my right to communicate to whoever I want to communicate to. I was being interrogated and investigated at the same time whilst feeling like I'm going through a hearing. So I thought it was my duty and responsibility, and was also told that on the phone, that for my own personal protection and safety, that I might as well collect information and data. And since I have the highest security and I have access to every single locked room, every single computer, every single password, well, you can only imagine what I may or may not have. So
exactly.
So that's why it would not be wise to do anything to me. That's all I'm saying. But nevertheless, and obviously there's copies and blah 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 blah. Blah. There may be copies, but anyway, that's what I did. And then the point where I basically cracked and was like c'est la vie, done, adios amigo, was basically they took away weeks and weeks of my pay, about 3 weeks of pay. I wasn't paid for 3 weeks. And then I, obviously going through these 2 weeks of interrogations, I was just treated like horribly. Then I was taken from my job. I wasn't demoted, but I was taken off my job. So I could not, this is where kind of shunning comes into place, where you can't speak and talk to people, and you can't speak to, other people, and no speaking without spoken to and all that kind of crap, right? Well, I had to go through that. Then I got put on heavy manual labor with no pay as well. So that building, you remember how you pulled up that building, which I told you
I thought
being renovated?
I thought you said manual labor there. What was it you said there? You were put on
hard manual labor. I got put on that. So they call it messed work. Okay. But see that building on the left-hand side? That building, I was sent to work in there. So that building's currently being renovated. There's a load of equipment. There's loads of, it's highly unsafe. Like the fireplace collapsed because it's just so old.
Yeah.
They literally do the ghost tours there. That's how old this place
is.
100%.
This is ancient Edinburgh, by the way, for anybody knows. This is very old.
This is like Old Town, and it's ancient Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
In fact, that woman there, see these stones here, America, probably been there longer than your country has had the flag it currently has. Okay, just to put in perspective here. Okay.
That's probably true. That is probably true. Yeah.
it's the old town, man. It's the old town. It's anyway. I'm going to shut up. Please carry on. It's
fine. Listen, Ron. I was sent to work in there. Okay, I was sent to work in there, and I did 1 day of it. And I'm like on my phone researching. And I'm like, this is literally by definition slavery. This is like,
I would have paid good money to see you dealing with a day of manual labor. I'm not going to lie. You in the library, no problem.
I made light of it. Because I knew.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did, bro.
I made a playlist on Spotify, and I was jamming and stuff, and I made light of the situation.
I'm sure you smashed it. I'm sure you smashed it, bro. I'm sure you smashed it.
Try carrying weights upstairs, spiral stairs for all day. I mean, it is difficult. Your whole body is like shaking.
I've lived long enough to go, nah, mate, that's not for me. That's not one for me. So they put you on. So basically, they went full North Korea on your ass. That's what they've done, right? You've gone through the interrogation, right, which is the pre-jail sentence, right? You've been interviewed. You've now been sentenced and jailed. So it's a metaphorical jail, though, right? You can't communicate. You've been taken away from your job position, and now you've been sent to the labor camp. So that lasted a day. now you've ended up on this is basically slavery, and I imagine this is where everything starts to snowball. So carry on.
This is, by the way, I will tell you, this is my beef with the police, with Police Scotland and with the police in the UK, because they don't understand coercive control. Like they're looking for, like I was like seriously, Ron, I'm telling you,
No, they know all about it,
they,
because in order for
bro,
them to allow it to happen, they need to understand how to tell you that they can't do anything about it. Trust me, they're
bro,
useless.
I'm telling with people I've spoken to and with my own experience, like they're
Mhm.
so highly uneducated on the
I
subject.
know,
They
of
look
course.
for physical things, like show me a picture, and I'm saying this verbatim, show me a picture of somebody with a stick over his head screaming at him. Like they're looking for physical things. They don't understand coercion and high control environments and groups and abusive relate like that. They so I had people like questioning me, like pop quizzing me on the subject of Scientology, just out of
Mhm.
complete curiosity, diverting from the subject. I'm like, what the hell is this? You
Yeah.
know. And the people, which is by the way, is so terrifying. It's so terrifying to me how, in the Scientology Introduction to Scientology Ethics, which is the Scientology Ethics book, the Green
Mhm.
Ethics book,
Sure.
in that book it says that you cannot report a Scientologist or Scientology to law enforcement without
Mm.
committing treason or a high crime, and you will be punished ethically. Like if a child goes through something very naughty, very
Yeah.
very very bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they can't go to the police and report that according to
Well, bro,
Scientology. You know, like do you understand how sick and grotesque stories that even we don't know about are? Like
bro,
Chris Malin has one of
you
the
are
most
preaching to the choir when it comes to the true horror of the world, bro.
well, I'm sure things happen in the choir as well. But anyway,
Yeah.
Chris Malin has one of the most crazy stories. Great guy, by the way, great guy. I mean,
Mhm.
has one of the most scary stories I've ever heard from anybody. So does Zoe Hancock as well. I mean, but the fact that you cannot report this stuff to the
Mhm.
police or to law enforcement, and it's like I don't know how that book is not banned. I honestly,
So,
I don't know how that book is not banned. Seriously,
you know,
like that's
do
sick.
you feel like all that saved you, right, was your home life? Do you feel like because you had your family, you had you were still
Yeah,
young
they
enough
had no
to have,
leverage on me.
they had no leverage on you, right? You were the
Yeah,
perfect
big
storm.
win,
You were the
big win.
perfect storm, bro. I honestly, it's a perfect storm. You really
Yeah,
were the biggest mistake in the history of Scientology in my country. 100%. I mean, great. All praise to
yeah,
you. But
yeah.
wow. So again, this
But
must be
yeah,
the
like even when you say that, Ron, it makes me think: how stupid do you have to be to treat somebody like that?
oh,
That's true. They had no leverage over me. That's true. I have no
because
family involved in it. I'm a young kid. I'm not in my 40s or whatever. I can dip in, I can dip out. It's another life experience. Again, I'm back into film school. I'm continuing on with my life like nothing happened.
yeah,
But like, how would you not? Just the way that they treated the situation. I'm
it's the
like,
perfect storm,
how
bro.
stupid you have to
Look
be
at
to
how
do that.
massive Scientology is, but how tiny it is represented in Edinburgh. It's just one
Yeah,
dude. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah.
if this was like a huge LA church where everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's the new guy, oh my God, America!" Like you probably would have been sucked in way more. I'm not going to lie. I think the fact that you were just allowed to be left alone and have your own journey that had nothing to do with religion, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's true.
stand by my fancy library analogy of all of this, and
Yeah, I like it.
it just makes sense though, bro. So this must be the beginning of the end now, Amir. It must be, right? I mean, we must be coming on to the final chapter of this because
Final few
you,
pages, mate. Final few pages. I
yeah,
mean,
hit us with it, brother. Hit us with it.
yeah, I did. I listen. I did 1 day of hard manual labor. I called
Yeah.
Alex, and I sent some other people, some things, and they were just like, "Dude, just walk out. Like, just walk out of there." And I was like, "No, I'm going to finish the day." I made a Spotify playlist. I played the Beatles. I played some deep house. I played some other things.
I'm
I
gonna
made a
finish
Spotify
the
playlist,
day.
which actually it's a shame. I actually deleted that playlist because I guess I just never listened to it after that day. But I made a Spotify playlist for that day. So I tried to make light of the situation because I knew I was not coming back in the next day. And I
Mhm.
was playing along and smiles and giggles and all that kind of stuff. And I was kind of wearing my mask. And then the end of the day came. I went up to my office, and again, you know, see when you work somewhere for so long, or see when you go to school, or you know, whatever, you tend to know your school, your place of work so well. You know all the emergency exits, you know where everyone is, you know every office, you know the timing of everything. You know everything very well. So anyway, plus I had access to obviously everything, right? So I knew where everyone was going to be. I knew when to leave. I knew which door to leave. So I went up to my office, which is all the way at the top, and you know you go past L. Ron Hubbard. My office was next to L. Ron Hubbard's office, so there was somebody there. I waited for them to go. I got a Sainsbury's bag from the kitchen. I actually asked the Malcolm, the boss, can I get a Sainsbury's bag, which he told me was in the
Brilliant.
kitchen. So I went over to the kitchen, grabbed the Sainsbury's bag, which is like a grocery store bag. I went upstairs to my office. All of the awards and all of the things that I was commended for and highly commended for, and my badges and my suit and my tie and everything that belonged to me, I basically shoved everything into that bag.
Mhm.
My calendar, everything that belonged to me, I shoved into that bag. And I went out of the emergency exit, and I had to time it well because, you know, Sophia, who was the boss's wife, Malcolm's wife, was like, had an office right there. So I had to time it well. So I think I went into the bathroom very briefly, and then eventually I slipped out the emergency exit. And I'm coming all the way down these very, very, very old spiral stairs where they do the ghost tours in Edinburgh. Go down to the bottom, cross the road without looking left or right, run across the road. The first bus is like right there. Jump on the first bus home, and that concludes my story with those guys. So, and
Wow.
then I went live with Alex, and then I talked about my experience, and then capiche.
Oh, I just want to say my
Another
official
life experience, my friend.
like Scientology are the victims of Amir here. I just want to point that out there, right? And I think that's a great thing to be able to say because you only
Oh
got what
man,
you wanted from this.
yeah.
Legitimately, you only got what you wanted. And I think that's fascinating. I would like to just like if I could do one of those like Ricky Gervais series where we just like dump you in places around the world and just see how you do with it. I think it would be fascinating.
That would be
And
fascinating.
so like for those of you who may not know, right? Many years. I want to show you something, Amir.
Yeah, show me.
I don't know if you've ever seen this before. Later, do you know what this is? I'm not going to play the sound, but do you know what this is? You ever seen this?
No, never.
So this is 18 years ago. This post, okay, and this is what introduced me to Scientology. And this video, I mean, what? I mean, this video is anonymous. The first time the world ever heard of Anonymous and
Right,
their declaration of war on Scientology, okay,
right,
because they don't believe that it's a religion and all the rest. This is what got me involved in Scientology. There was
right.
a group called Edinburgh Lulls, and for months we protested outside of that building that you were there.
Mhm.
And the Scientology people used to be able to sit out on the streets and do the thetan tests and all of that stuff. And like that, as far as I know, got taken away, right? I mean, I don't know if that was still the case, but certainly in Edinburgh,
Yeah, they still
they
do it.
use
Princeton Street, every
they
book
still
club, they still do
they
it.
still try and do it. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, people
because
put them up on Facebook and stuff, but they still do it.
yeah, they still do it. Well, they're chancers, okay,
Mm.
because we were there for months and so many people were followed home, their cars were smashed up, like it was an intimidation factor.
Yeah.
Let's just, if you've
It's
still got
crazy
time.
how, it's crazy how these guys claim to be a religion, but then this religion at the same time has their own intelligence agency.
Like this is what I'm
Like, no,
saying.
I don't think the Mormons even have that. I don't and the
Like
Mormons are big, you know what I mean?
yeah, and they've not got an Irishman that they call. Do you know what I'm saying? So
The Irishman, by the way, have you seen The Irishman?
I can't remember if I've seen that.
Okay.
I can't
Sorry, it's
remember.
another pop culture reference for you. It's a Scorsese
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
But
I
yeah, they
must
brought in
admit,
The
right?
Irishman.
So obviously now you're out the freaking mega library. You're doing your thing. Looking back and looking at everything that you know now about Scientology, right? Do you feel like all of the horrors that we hear about Scientology are underrepresented in the UK compared to the America? Do you feel like it's bigger, there's more horrors over there, or have you got some stories about individuals from the UK who've gone through a worse journey than I'm not saying that your journey wasn't horrible, it was, but the
No, for sure,
trauma
for sure.
that some people endure, especially women, right? And like
Yeah,
it's across the board. I mean, we could throw
yeah.
that into any situation, the especially women factor, right? But I mean, there is stories of the sea something or other, the sea
The
cadet.
Sea
What the hell?
Organization,
Thank you. Yeah.
Sea
So
Org.
over
Yeah.
Sea Org in America, there is literal
They're everywhere. They're even in Scotland. They're
are
everywhere.
they right? So, I mean, has anyone reached out to you? Have you? And again, you don't have to name names, but when it comes to the UK and the atrocities that Scientology are capable of, I mean, what have you heard, Amir?
Well, yeah, thankfully people have reached out to me. Not never anybody from the Sea Organization, and no, well, actually, former staff members have, not active staff members, but former
Mhm.
staff members have.
Of
But
course.
public have for sure. People that are still there and people that are not there anymore. But yeah, dude, there's loads. There's loads of stories, and in fact, see whenever, because the channel obviously, I mean, it's actually quite an incredible body of work that the channel has put out there. I mean, on Jeffrey Epstein and on, there's a
Mhm.
lot of things, right? But the key thing is survivor stories with any kind of abuse. The key thing,
Mhm.
because these guys don't want you to talk. Like these guys want you to shut up. They don't want you
Yep.
to
Of
talk.
course.
So we actually, obviously, it's such a, there's so many factors that go into it. There's a person's healing process, and there's therapy, and there's taking your time, and there's so many things that go into it that even I'm not even fully educated on, and I don't claim to be a scholar on
Mhm.
in any way, shape, or form. But there's a lot of sick stories out there, man. But I'm telling you, that book should
Yeah.
be banned in the UK. Introduction to Scientology Ethics. And listen, you don't have to take my word for it. It is published online on the internet. There is a whole chapter on it called Honesty. But in that book, it is a high crime and you commit treason if you report Scientology or any Scientologist to law enforcement. And so it is inner policing. They police themselves,
Mhm.
which is a bit like,
Interesting.
like Jim Jones basically took a bunch of people from church, moved over to Guyana, and we're like, oh, we're going to police ourselves. We're going to govern ourselves. We're going to take care of ourselves.
It
It's a
sounds
very common tactic.
it sounds a lot like various religions
Yeah.
that use religious texts to govern nations. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go into that, but that's the vibe it gives me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a whole other podcast.
But dude, I
Do you
mean,
know?
listen, logically speaking, I mean, I know it's recognized as a religion. It's not recognized as a charity in the UK because, despite their attempts, they can't prove to be a charity.
No.
But I'm telling you, man, that book, that book is night and day. I don't know how it's not banned in the UK.
Mm.
Seriously, it is a violation. It doesn't matter if you make a religion and you say, "Well, my religion says I have to go smack somebody in the face." The French go and kiss people on each cheek. I have to go smack somebody in the face.
Mhm.
That's how I say hello. That's my way of saying hello. Like that's assault. Like, the law of the land is the law of the land at the end of the day.
Correct.
You have to put your foot down. So when somebody says, doesn't matter what essay you've received or what
Mhm.
you've went through, you cannot report this guy to law enforcement. Like that's just night and day. It should be illegal, that book. It should be completely illegal. It should be
Wow.
banned.
Wow.
It's
Do
crazy
you know
stuff,
what?
man.
Do you know what, Amir? I would love to, first of all, speak to you after this show, but I think
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
like a mega panel that we need to work on to put
I'm
together a
working on
show.
stuff too. Don't worry. I
Like,
promise.
because I'm
When it
telling you
comes out,
now,
it comes
bro,
out. But yeah.
it's you're in such a unique position, right, with all of this to do so much impact because, I'll be honest with you, that's the most badass Scientology story I've ever heard. Okay, like
I'm flattered.
you walked in off the street, got a buzz for the knowledge, ignored all the religious part, got up to a point of the highest security, and then when they questioned your integrity of what you were doing, you went nuclear on their ass. And that's a
Yeah.
great story, bro. And listen,
Yeah.
that is me. I'm not taking anything away from anyone's Scientology story, but it's rare do I speak to a survivor of anything and I'm like, well, actually, you won that, mate. If I'm being
I
honest,
think
like
so.
I think he
I
did
think
too. I
so.
think he did too. Like they messed up, bro. Like so many people have lost their jobs over you, bro. Like so many people. I'm telling you now. Oh god.
That's what
Oh,
people tell me. That's what people tell
I
me.
would have loved to have seen the face of the most high up official that read all of the crap, right, that they paid for you to do. So
Well,
we flew him where? We promoted him to what? His security level was what? Oh dear, Malcolm, Malcolm. 100%, bro.
yeah, I don't think Mal. Yeah,
100%.
I mean, so even when I see, okay, there's certain people that in your life that you would have come across that it's like I've never seen them scared before. I've never seen Malcolm scared, but see when I was see the pressure that Malcolm received from the Office of Special Affairs, their
Oh
intelligence, and
yeah.
from international management, and see the correspondence that Malcolm was getting from management and what he was being told to do. And I've never seen him scared before, but he was like begging me not to speak to anybody. He
Oh
was
yeah.
basically, he was like, please, please do not speak to any, like, if you want to go and talk to this person, I will set up something in the parliament. We'll set up this. We'll get you on this podcast. We'll get you on that podcast. Please, please, please do not speak to anybody. Don't speak to them. Just cut communication. Cut communication. Block them. Just block them. He was like begging, and I've never seen Malcolm beg or be that scared before. So I mean, it was, yeah, it probably wouldn't have
Yeah,
gone
I've got
too
a funny
well
feeling
for
that
him.
got a funny feeling that Malcolm's pet cat might have been thrown off a roof that
He
night,
has
bro.
he has a
Like,
pet turtle. He's got a pet turtle.
not anymore, he doesn't, bro. Not anymore, he doesn't. Okay, like,
Oh
uh,
man,
because
yeah, I don't
what
think it
you
went too
said
well for
there,
him.
the fear factor, right?
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
so real, and you don't have
yeah,
to look far if this is your first insight into Scientology. You really don't have to look far to find the horror stories. And it's
yeah.
interesting at the start of this conversation, the way you would speak about your experience, because they fell into your trap. Okay, they tried to trap. They pulled out the honeys.
See, you
Okay.
got a chess grandmaster right here.
Oh damn! You chess grandmaster.
No, no, no,
Can
no.
you?
I mean, I play chess a lot, but I'm not a chess grandmaster.
Okay,
My rating, my elo is not that high.
I was
But
just about to say, because all
he
of a
hit me
sudden
with a check, and I got him with
Scientology.
a checkmate.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bro. It wasn't. No, we can't call it a checkmate because, like, that
Oh,
would.
dude, I checkmate them so badly.
No,
Dude, they didn't even
bro.
see it coming. I
Bro,
checkmate them so badly.
it can't be a checkmate, right? They gave you everything. They gave you the security pass and all. They're the ones that screwed up.
Without seeing it coming, by the way, because it's
This wasn't a
never been,
chess match.
never happened before.
This is them out in the garden with some fireworks, and the fireworks just blow up in their face, bro. Like, it just. Poof. Do you know what I'm saying? There was only like 2 moves involved in this, and it was over for them. Do you know what I'm saying? 2 moves, and it was over. So yeah, man. I mean, the analogy of chess works great there, but man, nah, this was
It's just
so.
because they hit me with a move which they believe to be a check. But check, it's those things that you don't see coming as well, and those things that you don't anticipate, and thinking 20 steps ahead,
Yeah,
and coming across something that you've never seen before. So I use chess a lot for a lot of analogies, but
bro, it's just so funny because, like,
yeah, it is a
if
little
you
bit
were
funny.
there for religion, all of their tactics would have worked. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
because
Who knows?
you were there for Amir. Okay, you were at the Church of
Yeah.
Scientology, Amir. Okay, that's where you were at. That was fast. This is such a fascinating story,
Do
bro.
you know
And
what's
again,
hilarious? They can't even call themselves the Church of Scientology in Scotland. Like it's the Hubbard Academy of Personal Independence.
yeah, yeah. Which,
It's
hey, I'm
funny.
okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
Well,
bullshit,
there's
bullshit,
science still there's
bullshit,
Scientology.
bullshit, Scientology. That's great. It's the religion and the church side that I've never been okay with. Like, we've
Right.
never been okay with that in Edinburgh. They're
Yeah.
lucky. They're lucky everything gets to run smoothly, because for a while, bro,
Yeah.
like way before your time, things were really real. And we had police officers that were calling us all paramilitary guys because we refused to show our faces because we knew what would happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
sick. It was a sick time, bro. And this was pre-smartphones. This was pre
Yeah.
having loads of pictures to doc. I wonder on the way, I'll maybe see on the way back machine if it's got edinburghlols.com still registered, and we'll see what we can find. But wild, bro. It's mad that you're in my same city. It's mad that we've got
That's so
very,
crazy.
because we are the two sides of the same story.
Do you know what would have been hilarious is if you'd met me when I was an executive, and then I left and I did this interview with you.
Bro, do you know what's crazy? The last time I got thrown out of that place, I'm not like, all I remember is the color of the guy's hair, and it was the same as yours. All right, I'm not saying it was you, right, in any way, shape, or form.
It was before my time.
But well, no, this was maybe four or 5 years ago, max.
I must have been before my time, because I've never thrown anybody out.
It was definitely before your time, 100%.
I've never thrown anybody out before, so it would.
Yeah. Nah. Nobody was throwing me out. They just done the "we need to ask you to leave, sir." And
yeah. That's usually Malcolm that does that now.
Yeah. Oh well, listen. Now I know his name. I'm going to go back and ask for him. I'm going to go back and see how far down the rabbit hole I can go. Okay, because if Amir can intercept, I want the highest clearance. I'm trustworthy, Scientology. Don't worry, I'm your guy. So, look, what would your advice be to anyone out there who may hear this about the Church of Scientology, about seeking knowledge in places, about the whole journey? Because it's easy to look at your experience and go, hey, I won, right? But you are in the low percentages, bro. Like you are the obtuse survivor story of Scientology, you know?
Dude, you know what? Okay, so there's a lot I can say about Scientology, but then the other aspect of it is that's very deep. Okay, the first thing I will say about Scientology is these guys are still around, and I believe them, and they are an extremist belief system where they are not out there to spread the friendly message, but they are out there to convert every single one of you and to clear the planet. So they're there to force their beliefs upon every single man, woman, and child that there is, which is, disgusting, I think. But anyway, and I also think that these guys are a threat to our children. I mean, there is just so many stories that I have actually sobbed at, just with the fact that a little girl could go through that and have no one to go to, no police, no. I mean, it's literally
how widespread
like a nightmare. It's like an actual nightmare.
How widespread is the SA throughout Scientology?
Oh, it's all over the UK and Ireland as well. It's all over the UK. There's stories from Scotland. There's stories from England. There's stories from St Hill, East Grinstead, Sussex. There's stories from Dublin, Ireland. There's stories from all over the UK. Wherever there's a building. I mean, I'm sure there's even stories from Bournemouth, right? And that's not even a proper church. That's just a mission.
Okay.
But all over the country, all over the States, everywhere, there is so many stories of kids that go through. Okay, let's take something that everyone has to do. Let's take level 0. Level 0, which is a level that you have to do. It's a major. It's called a major service, right? It's grade 0. It's a major service. It's a big deal. We're getting into very, very expensive Scientology counseling. Everyone has to do that, though. Everybody has to do that level. Level 0, you're asking a kid very, very dirty, naughty questions that they have to comply with and answer and look up in the dictionary and have a visual understanding of, and it's very sick stuff.
Can I ask you, are they asking these kids from a have you ever thought this, or have you ever done this, or do you know what this is question mindset? Does that make sense?
The last two.
The last two. So have you ever thought this and done this? No. Is that right?
Do you know what this is? Have you ever seen this before? Do you have any experience with this?
Wow.
And if you don't know what this is, we're going to look it up right now.
Wow.
So yeah, you get the whole shebang, man, at level level 0, which everyone has. So it's actually built into their belief system. It's actually built into their policy that L. Ron Hubbard's written. So now we've got a problem with their beliefs and with what they practice, because we've got an extremist group that also are abusing our children. So it is a very
every 9-year-old Scientology member must start with mom and dad being in Scientology.
Yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, take Malcolm, for example. Malcolm was born and raised into it. Malcolm's mother used to run the place. Malcolm's
Wow.
and his dad as well, he used to be an executive there. So a lot of these guys are actually born and raised into it. In fact, the majority of Scientologists today, as we speak, are second and third generation. So they were actually born and raised into it. So
Wow.
that's their way of life.
Malcolm. That's
See,
fascinating.
you know, if somebody's raised as a Hindu or in Judaism, or you know, that is how you conceive life.
I
That's
know
how you
100%.
believe where
I'm
you're
with you.
going when you die, what to eat, what not to eat, who to get married to, who not to marry, what I believe in, who's saved, who's not saved. I mean, it really shapes your entire reality when you're. Thank God I never had that, by the way.
For
But
sure. But
that's
the problem with regular religious analogy is history's wiped out the religions that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? History has done a good job. I mean, it's not. It's the bloodlines and the overlords that have shaped the world, blah, blah, blah. But with this being such a new religion, right? And with this having this level zero and parents knowing what is going to take place in level zero, okay?
yeah,
It's the parents that are facilitating. And whenever parents facilitate any kind of abuse towards their children, the people who are facilitating that abuse, it lessens and lessens every time and becomes the normal to them.
yeah.
And Scientology, massive problem. Another problem is mental case parents. Okay. And I, it's a big problem when crazy people have a place to take their children to further the crazy, right? And your point is spot on. But the fact that you're telling us that if you don't know what this horrible thing is, little man or little girl or boy, we're going to look it up now. How can we not see that as grooming of these kids at the early stage? And
And
again,
by the way, I'm working on this, and I can't speak about it, but I'm working on this, and believe me, when it comes out, you know, it's going to be something. But that's only one thing we're speaking about. We're only speaking about grade zero, and we've spoken about the ethics book as well. But there is more. Like, go and look up what a nervicist is. It's online. It's on the internet. Go and look up, and go and just fathom that a kid can deliver a grown man a nervous system in a locked room. I mean,
no.
there are so many abusive practices. I mean, it's like, dude, it's sick stuff.
Yeah,
It's sick
yeah,
stuff,
bro,
man.
we're listen. Are you okay for time? Because I need at least 20 minutes of your time after this interview's done.
What?
So,
Yeah, you got me for another 20 minutes.
yeah, that's fine. So, look, just I think your story is incredible. I think clearly the spite train that is fueled by you has not even picked up its full speed yet, and I'm so here for the spite train. Okay, like I, I love spite fuel anything, right? Anything where somebody has gone to war just over sheer spite. Don't get me wrong; it starts off as spite, and it
You'd
becomes.
like Alex. You'd like Alex.
Bro,
If you like that kind of stuff, you'd like Alex.
we're gonna chat after this because, like, trust me, you need to know some things about your boy here. So, listen,
Oh.
is there anything you feel like we've not touched on that you want to just say to everybody?
No, in fact, okay, the first thing I would say is I just want to thank everybody, because taking time out of your day to watch me speak, or to stick on this on YouTube, or wherever you're listening to this live, wherever you're playing this, wherever you're watching this, if it's on your phone, your laptop, your TV, I think we've been speaking for what, 2.5 hours,
Mhm.
taking the time to watch me speak. And I know that you guys make an unbelievable amount of videos, and you've had some great guests that bloody, you know, I look like nothing compared to some of the guests that you've had. But thank you to everybody that's just, you know, that's watching this, that has this knowledge now, that's listening to me speak. I just want to thank everybody watching this. That's
Well,
what I want to say.
listen, you don't have to worry about that. I'm so heavily shadow banned anyway that the same amount of viewers will turn up for you and the biggest guest I could possibly book, because YouTube hates me. Okay. And we'll talk about that after this too. So, look, hang on one second. So look, everyone, Amir's definitely going to be back. I can tell that he's going to be dropping some spite bombs, and I'm going to want to get him back to talk about them because I can't wait. I'm going to be live over on my channel in about 20 minutes, playing some of the new music, talking about all of that. The mods will put up the link for you guys. Oh, man, do you know, I'm really satisfied with your story, and it's so rare in a survivor story, bro, that I leave going, yeah, I was good. I was good. I usually leave going, like, listen, I'm not the most level-headed guy. And when I hunted child predators, I done it on the internet. So
Yeah.
meeting these people in real life, there's a reason why I don't meet these people in real life. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So I just think your story is incredible. And it's not even over. We're in the spite chapter, bro. We're in the, oh, is that right? You're going to interrogate me for a week, are you? You're going to tell me who to speak to? You're going to do that, are you? Okay, then. We're in that period, man. And that is so tasty. It's so tasty. And, listen, if we just had Malcolm, third generation Malcolm to worry about, we could all sit here and laugh. But don't forget who it is you're going up against. All right. And
for sure.
Keep making friends. Okay. Keep making friends because there's a lot of people, right, that can be brought together to help you. And we're going to talk about that offline. So listen, thank you to everyone for being here. A classic example of when we have a great conversation and interview that is meant to be 60 minutes and we go for 270 minutes or whatever. 170 minutes is great. I'm so here for it. Amir definitely won. In fact, you know what? Amir's not even done yet. Amir has in his head, he's not won anything. He's just gotten out and the spike train's rolling now. He downloaded it all. Neener. Scientology guys who are watching this I want you to know, if you're watching this from Scientology, we are laughing our backsides off at you right now. You are gomers, absolute gomers. I am so here. In fact, this should inspire more people to get high-level clearance and download stuff from Scientology. If this doesn't inspire you to just have a laugh with this.
Well, we've got the technology to now stick in voice memos in our pocket in any interaction we have, or stick on meta glasses, or have cameras in our pens.
It could literally be one of those buttons. It could be one of those buttons on your polo shirt, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It's 4K.
Could be.
Yeah, man. My mate Randy lost an eye, and I often think how cool it would be to just like throw in like an optic that links to your phone. And just record everything. But big shout out to Randy, my good friend, the Cyclops. And thank you for being here, Amir. Stay there though, because I got to talk to you. Thank you to the mods. Sure. Thank you to the admin. Thank you to Sean Atwood channel. Thank you to everyone at home. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you to the lady who helped us, Jojo. Thank you, Jojo, for helping us with all of that.
Thanks, Jojo.
And we'll see you in the next one. But make sure the mods put my channel here. It's in the description. I'm going to be live in 20 minutes. If anyone would like to come and support me, YouTube will not put notifications out for my lives. So please come over and show some support. Thank you all for being here. Amir's links are in the description. Amir, you're a legend. We're going to go for a beer. Right. Stay right there. Okay. So thank you.